graphic nature of this program, listener discretion is advised.
This is an alert from Central Dispatch. Major disturbance reported.
You're listening to the BNC show on the whatever the fuck network this is.
God damn it, is that damn
BNC show? Dude, don't stand around and hold your nuts. Dude, turn the volume up. It's time for the BNC show. Every week you got some special treats. I even bang all of my freaks to the motherfucking BNC show. It's just two dudes with no class. I'm surprised you two ain't bang their ass on the BNC show. Whew, you wild out. Yeah. And every week I'm calling for a time out, listening to the BNC show. C, he brings the real. And B, he brings the science and shit. But it's still on the BNC show. Kodak crazy questions got you guessing. But just listen close, it's always a lesson on the BNC show. My girlfriend thinks you're dummies, but I still listen cause I think you're funny when I'm listening to the BNC show.
I love the BNC show.
Yo, C, what we gonna talk about this week? Man, it don't even matter. Alright, well, come on, B, you ready? Let's go.
Stupid motherfuckers. Hey, BNC, would you sign my titties?
All the girls think we're stupid.
I know, we have a couple female fans, but I think that the large demographic is definitely male.
I have no idea. I'm sure there's some parakeets or something listening to us somewhere out there, too. Maybe.
I mean, there is data. There is some data that...
a couple ducks.
That YouTube provides.
How the hell could they do that?
Just demographics of, like, where people are listening.
It's that laptop camera, ain't it? It does view people, doesn't it?
Well, let's say you've logged into YouTube with your...
Oh, you got a little account.
Right. So they can track that. But if you're not logged in and you're just some random user, then obviously those demographics...
Oh, they track it. They know what you like to see. The demographics actually, like, pinpoint ads on you.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, big time.
Big time. Stuff you type. I remember I posted something on Facebook months ago, and some Islam group did something, and I posted something about it, and then I think the next time that I logged in, there was an ad for Muslim dating. It was like a Muslim dating site.
Yeah, well, they got all kinds of sites, like the farmers, the Christians. I even stumbled upon one. That
which one?
I didn't go into it. This is horrible. I'm even going to say this, but there's one for people with herpes.
Wow.
They have a dating site.
Well, I mean, it's an interesting idea, I guess.
People who like to fish.com.
Speaking of fish, I actually got in a lot of trouble on one of those sites. Here's a little friendly advice from your main man. See, if you're using these sites, I'd encourage you not to use your real name.
Yeah, stay off them sites.
Well, I don't say stay off them. I mean, I've used them for a long time. Had a lot of success with FetLife. That's a fun one.
I've never really even peeped them out at all.
Well,
I mean, the Facebook
I think you have to
and the
be
MySpace it does work,
yeah,
but
those do good for you. But
I'm a big fan of the bar scene. Maybe the friends hook you up on a blind date. I guess that's old school now, right?
Well, it's just the trends have changed. I mean, before that was pretty much the only way you could meet people. And now it seems, I think it's like 1 in every 4 couples or something like that meet online. That statistic might be overblown, but
it's probably accurate. I mean, and your divorce statistic was accurate too. But do you know divorce in the military is 150%?
Well, it was funny you bring that up. I had a little flashback of me and you when we were witnesses for that contract marriage. In Yuma, Arizona, when we were staying out there. And we're obviously not going to get the names, but long story short, if you're married and in the service, the pay goes up like, 30%
it's like double.
Or something?
It's double, actually, and especially if you're going overseas, which is what happened.
Oh, okay.
Because you have separation.
Sure.
There's like an anxiety pay. There's several different things that come up, but what it is people are getting married 2 or 3 times and divorcing 2 or 3 times, so that's why that is so high.
Holy hell.
Yeah, so 150, might be 175% divorce rate in the military. And, your spouse is leaving for a year at a time, which is hard on anybody.
That was just weird. I had never heard of anything like that. I mean, I'd heard that contract marriages exist, but never seen them in person. And, just to wrap this story up, it was a buddy of yours, nice guy, regular guy, and met a local girl in town. And Yuma's a small town. I mean, I don't know what it looks like now, but it was would you call it a military town? Is that fair to say?
I would, but I would more so call it a border town.
Okay.
And
that
C
makes
is
sense.
accurate. I mean, it had like 14 streets.
Small
What do we
town.
live on? Avenue B?
Yeah, we have Avenue B and
I can't even remember.
what was the name of the place we stayed in?
I
It was
got
like
the card. They gave you
Palms
the
or
card.
something?
Yeah, it was awesome. It had an awesome little pool. It was surrounded by like 30 palm trees.
Oh, it was awesome. We get to like 125 degrees.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it was hot.
Definitely want to stay inside.
But anyway, so here we are. We got asked to be witnesses here in this contract marriage. So here me and B are in the courtroom.
Like laughing.
We tried not to laugh, and I think you could just feel how uncomfortable the two parties that were involved were. Because it was just me and B, the military preacher. I mean...
No, it was a legit judge. It was a judge.
It was a
you
judge.
Went to the courthouse.
Okay, it was a judge.
I thought it would just be, do you, yes. But it was
Right.
like a wedding ceremony.
It was a wedding ceremony.
And-
Will you honor and cherish her for the rest of your miserable existence? I mean, it was heavy.
It was heavy.
It was heavy, right?
It was heavy.
So anyway, we get through this, and me and B are just sitting there like, what the fuck? But I mean, the contract marriage, as alien as it sounds, it was very common out there. And probably everywhere in military
I mean,
places.
it's an option everywhere. I mean, you're using the contract, but a lot of people could just get married at the courthouse, skip the ceremony, lots of money involved. But
it's basically like,
for this
listen,
reason was to get paid more.
Yeah, you find a chick that you can kind of trust, and you say, listen, here, I'm going to give you insurance. I'm going to give you this much every month.
Yeah.
And for these girls who are from very small towns, not even just, let's take it out of Yuma, let's say anywhere, I mean, that's one of their few tickets out.
Yeah, the insurance is a big deal.
That's a huge deal in these small income areas, low population, low opportunities.
Not to mention, how much studs Marines are.
You guys are good looking for the most part.
And in good shape.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
You can take your shirt off and not be embarrassed. You can go. You can actually go to the pool and take your shirt off.
Well, I got about 16 nipple rings, so
Yeah, I've always enjoyed that about you. Actually,
they jingle jangle when I walk down the street.
they do. I'm surprised you don't like make the mic scream. But whatever.
Well, it's as long as metal detectors don't go off, I don't need to be getting strip searched at
Do
the
they?
fucking airport. No, they don't.
Oh.
Actually, they never have. Actually,
I guess because you're using like sterling silver or something.
I guess
I don't know.
It's a fucking ring that's through my nipple.
Right. And now you've had this done a couple times. It's not like this is the first time you've done this.
Oh,
right?
it hurts, man. It takes a good several months. I'm talking about 6+ months to heal
Really?
all the way. Yeah.
Jesus.
And it's tender for a minute.
I bet.
But the
And
pleasures.
I was going to say, has it enhanced your sexual...
yeah, the pleasures are great, man.
That's great.
And
Well, now I understand why guys get like Prince Alberts and stuff
I
like
see.
that.
I don't understand that. I mean, maybe I don't know.
I see a lot of that in the...
Talking about dicks again on the show.
Yeah, what is it? What would you call it? Like genitalia piercings, or that's definitely not what they call it, but
I don't know. You're talking about on a female?
yeah, well, or just like the classification of that style of piercing.
I have no idea, but I'm sure it sounds great, but 90% of your people probably going in there to get that are what they may consider unattractive.
You think so?
Well, I don't know. I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just like, belly button piercing. What do you think you got going in? You know what I'm saying?
Some cuties.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I think there's some pluses to being a tattoo artist or a piercing
Oh,
expert.
sure. But I'm sure there are some negatives too.
You ever thought about being that? I mean, I can't draw. There's no way in this stage in life that I
think
could.
if I could draw, I would. But I suck at drawing. I mean, I really can't. I cannot draw at all.
Yeah, we
At
knew
all.
a few very talented tattoo artists.
Oh yeah, Chauncey Gundy was really good. Rindeman,
Yeah,
really
House
good.
of Pain, Rindeman.
I think both those guys are tattooing.
They really are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
We
yeah,
got some cats out there. Hopefully, we can talk to Miles Kelly. He can give me the last name of this guy, but Mark. He was going to fly in. He does such good detailed work.
We need to call Miles, and does he not want to do the show?
I have not asked him. I don't
Okay.
know what the deal is, but I was going to text him today because I didn't know what we got going on. I guess we got your dad coming in.
Yeah, it's
Big
the 4th of
C.
July. This
Yeah.
will air on the 4th of July. Obviously, we tape a few days ahead.
To make sure C doesn't say stupid shit.
Yeah, just to fix whatever crazy, demons that I've conjured during the taping. But this will air on 4th of July. I want to give a
Independence Day, baby.
Yeah, I want to give a big shout out to the United States soccer team.
Yes.
Man, we are so proud of you guys. We kind of limped into the end of it. But, I mean, they're playing in the fucking Amazon rainforest. I mean, I don't think people understand like how rough those conditions are. You remember playing during the summertime in the heat.
Right. And I know
that's when you're young.
The Amazon is a crazy spot. I mean,
Holy
it's crazy. Humid.
Humid as hell.
It rained like hell.
Pouring down rain.
Just pouring. I mean, it's just like constantly wet. And what they call it the first water break.
Ever. They've never done cooling breaks.
You know what I
ever.
saw today? The
What's
plus
that?
6 minutes.
I saw
thought
that
they
too.
only went up to 4. But see, the soccer rules are foreign to me. I'm still learning the football.
The thing that breaks my balls is the offsides. I hate that call. Basically, for people that don't understand the call, is you cannot pass a line, an imaginary line, past the last line of defenders if you're on the offense. Which
I
to me
like
is crazy. Why the hell wouldn't you want to get?
Well, that's the
past
same
defenders?
as in hockey. Well, you cherry pick. If you cherry pick a goalie versus a defender, I mean a goalie versus the offense,
yeah.
1-on-1,
Yeah.
he's done.
What is it called in hockey?
It's the same thing, all sides.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. But they do the same shit.
I honestly was going to confuse that with icing.
Icing is, you know what that is.
No.
Well, just to describe to everybody.
Yeah,
that's
what is
where
that?
They have a blue line right at the goal.
Okay.
And if you hit it up there and there's nobody to receive it and the goalie doesn't mess with it, then it's icing because it's just basically eating up the clock and shit like that.
Oh, just womping it from one side to the other?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So they have icing. You got to have somebody that can defend it because it's kind of the same exact thing. So
I was a lot like people in this country 4 years ago, which never gave soccer a chance. Living in Seattle, where they take soccer very seriously.
it's actually I've heard that they're like the number 3 fan base in the world.
Holy hell, the Seattle Sounders, and we actually have a lot of guys on the USA team that play in Seattle. Dempsey and that young kid, that stud with the cute little haircut. His name escapes me. But anyway, to all the people out there, just give it a chance. You know, it's every 4 years, and the one thing I really like about it is, you know, you're a Panther fan, I'm a Seahawk fan, there's 49er fans, there's all these other fans, and for this month, we just all cheer for the United States.
And that's what I really like. He represent the country, much like the Olympics. You know, like your Shaun White. He's snowboarding, but he's representing this country. I love that. You know, things like that. So I'm big on it, man. I got my beads on, and I said, I just go for it. And this is the right time of the year.
Yeah,
4th of July. You know, it makes me tear up from time to time. But we really do have opportunity. If we don't fucking blow it on, you know, dumb shit like heroin and, you know, whatever else can ruin your shit.
There was a really cool documentary the ESPN did. It's called The Two Escobars. I encourage everybody to take a look at it. It was obviously intertwining Pablo Escobar.
Big drug runner.
Very famous drug cartel.
Yeah.
Member. Founder, if you will.
He was. He was the G, bro.
Oh, he was a messiah to the poor people in Colombia. There was a fire that burnt down a very poor slum village in Colombia during that time, and Pablo went in there and they built 900 houses, basically on the spot. He saw it and was like, "That's it, build them houses."
Yeah, no, I mean it's awesome. I mean, it's just a shame, but you know he chose his profession. If you're a Marine, you can get blown up. You know, if you're a drug cartel, they're probably looking for your ass, or you get locked up for a hot minute. So
he was doing okay until he landed up on the Forbes most richest list.
Yeah.
Apparently, what he was doing is he was having private matches in his villa. He was flying the best players in the world in for a private match, and then him and other multimillionaires would bet and everything. And things didn't get hairy for him until political people started dying. The CIA, RCI went in after him.
Right.
And it started getting really ugly. But the documentary also talks about the captain of the Colombian team at the time. Because what Escobar was doing, Pablo, is he was laundering all of this drug money in through the soccer clubs. So,
Nice.
of course, Colombia becomes this powerhouse, obviously, because you can pay top-tier talent. You can get the best, what do you call the guys, trainers?
Yeah.
And so, long story short.
Coaches, trainers.
Sure. So
Medical.
they go into the World Cup. The Pablo Escobar is killed. Colombia's still in the World Cup. Their goalie had got thrown in jail because he had went and saw Pablo Escobar previously
No
and
kidding.
spoke to the media. The whole team went and saw him, but the goalie was the only one to speak to the media.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to.
You don't want to
open
do
your
that.
mouth.
No, the Colombian government went after him and threw him in jail. So here he is, the Colombian team that were in the World Cup. They're doing things. Their captain, whose last name was also Escobar, accidentally scored an own goal. And the Colombians were actually playing the United States. This is when the World Cup was in the United States. So here it is. The Gringos beat Colombia 2-1 or whatever, 1-0 because of this own goal. The captain, whose name was Escobar, goes back to Colombia, and he was actually killed in a nightclub.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, they killed him.
Oh, they don't fuck around.
They don't fuck around. I mean,
Who was it?
soccer is-
Who was it? Iraq. They lost in the World Cup, and Saddam essentially. I think maybe Jimmy was telling me this because he's been to that stadium. But they came back from the World Cup after the loss. Saddam had everybody there, all their families, and basically said, "Hey, welcome back to your families," and just shot them all right in front of one of the goals.
Oh my!
And they still use that field.
That shit happens. I mean,
It's
there's
a
some
rough
places-
sport.
Yeah. it's-
And like I said, you represent your country. That's why we are so proud.
All right. Well, you listen to B&C Show. We got a lot more to do. We got This Week in History. We got B's Earth Facts.
Oh yeah.
We got my old man's gonna come in. We're gonna do a segment on cults today. We talked to Kodak. We'll look at some of the stuff we got left, but a lot more show, man.
Yeah.
Go Gringos! You listen to the B&C Show. Be back in 10 seconds.
10 seconds.
You're a real boring fuck. Sorry. Sorry, I know that you disapprove of swearing. So I'll solve that. You are a boring F star cunt.
So what's going on? We got Kodak in the building.
Oh
man.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna be back next week, back in action, ready to go ham.
All right. Well, we're debuting the theme song this week, so that's going to be a lot of fun.
So somebody slipped something in my drink when I was writing that, so just to let y'all know.
All right. Well, please be careful, but much love. I'm glad to hear you're doing well. We got nervous when we didn't hear from you.
Yes, sir.
Oh, I'm glad you guys are worried about me, but you know your boy. You know you can never kill off a pimp. You know.
Anything interesting happened today while you're moving?
Yeah, is there? What was the kind of any debacles or?
Did you have to dodge a squirrel or something?
Were there squirrels invading your boxes or what happened?
Oh no, not really. A bunch of ants got into my little storage unit, and you already know the running I had with ants the other day, so I'm kind of terrified of ants right now.
Can we tell the people what happened to you?
What happened? Why are you scared
with the
of
ants?
Is there a problem with ants or what happened?
I'm gonna see why a 200-pound guy is afraid of ants right now. The other day I had a little run-in with ants at the gas station, filling my tire up with some air. So let me just tell you how it started. The air hose it's a new contraption. I never seen it. It was a retractable cord. So and it actually when you pull it out, it still has that force like it wants to retract. So me being the genius that I am, I get on top of the line, so I'm squatting down, putting air in my tire, and come to find out it was a whole lot of ants coming from that cord, just crawling up my ass crack and my back. So I get in the truck and go about my merry way, and 2 minutes down the road, I'm jumping up and down like, something's stinging me in my butt, something's stinging me in my back. So I reach my hand in my pants, all in the ass hairs, and I pull my hand out, and it's like 2 ants on my fingers, 2 black ants on my fingers. I never thought they bit or anything like that. So,
black ants will bite you. Yeah,
I've been bitten. I've been bitten. Not on the butt though.
I never knew that. So come to find out, well, I thought it was, just 2 bites. So, I'm riding down the road, and every 5 seconds I'm getting a stinging effect. I'm just thinking is this a relayed, effect of the sting? Maybe that poison is. I don't know too much about bugs.
I got a text from him during the day. He was like, "I am miserable."
And come to find out, I got about 10 bite marks on my ass and 5 bite marks on my back. So I was tore down the whole day.
So you had the red ass.
Oh,
Yeah, I had raw ass all day.
Well, we're thinking about you. We hope your ass returns back to its normal size soon. We look forward to having you back next week. Kodak's Crazy Questions will be back in full swing next week. Wish you a nice, speedy move to your new lab, and hopefully it'll be smooth, man. I appreciate you calling in. Tell everybody hello.
Hell yeah.
What's up, everybody? All 6 listeners listening to the B&C show. You know, we in here. I do, if you guys, I don't want to catch you by surprise. I got a quick question while I'm about to get back to this movie thing.
Oh, please do. Yeah, hit us with it.
Okay, I'm a proud father of a 2-year-old daughter. You know, she lightens my world. You know, she's the apple of my eye.
Right.
So when I hear stories about, like with me, child support is a touchy subject because it's a lot of guys who are not doing what they're supposed to, and then it's a lot of guys who are doing what they're supposed to, and then they got a bitch of a baby mama who is making their life hell for no reason. Right. Well, maybe because they don't want to be with them anymore. So, I mean, this is an old story, but I found myself getting into a heated debate earlier with a friend of mine. Well, if you guys don't know, this story broke in January. I don't know if you've heard, but it was a story about a guy from Kansas. He was actually sentenced to 6 months in jail for overpaying child support and over-visiting his 11-year-old son in Houston.
Wow.
In Houston, Texas. Everything happens in Texas. So, you know, I was just talking about, like, I think the laws around child support and everything is shaky. Like, it's even a story where the state is suing a sperm donor because the same-sex couple who, I guess, got his son, they split up. So they're actually suing the sperm donor who signed a waiver waiving all his rights to any child that will be produced. He's getting sued for child support for this child now. Wow. And I just wanted to, I really wanted to get you guys' take on the laws referring to, you know, child support and, you know, things of, you know, the domestic type things, you know what I'm saying?
Wow, he always brings the heavy-hitting questions. Some of you should see the list that he gave me the other day of stuff that's coming up over the next couple of weeks, and I'm, oh, man.
You're a little scared, right?
I'm a little scared.
I was a little scared when speaking to him earlier, too. It doesn't matter, though. We're going to attack these tough topics, and I think that's a great question because the government is the one that controls that, and it's really like, how can you... Why on earth would you sentence a guy to jail for trying to see and take care of his son or daughter or whatever? Right. Like, why on earth? I get that.
I definitely think it was his baby mama who they allegedly revised the schedule and the payments and didn't tell him. So he continued to overpay, and I guess she's looking for a reason to throw him in jail. But honestly, that's a good man.
That's a good man. He's keeping up with things. I kind of agree with you on that one. See, what do you think?
That's crazy. I mean, I'm shocked, and this is almost kind of a new trend. I mean, in the 30s and the 40s and stuff, divorce was not common at all.
Exactly. Yeah.
And now it's something to where everybody seems to be getting married and having children later, but the divorce rate is sky high. Out there, I know there's a lot of people that go through divorce. The divorce rate's 50%. Just get a prenup, man. I hate to say it, but I mean, you almost have to sign a prenup in today's society.
With things like a prenup, they cover, like, let's say you marry a girl, she has a lot of college loans. That's the things that prenups can cover. Not just if you leave me, I keep my money, but it's like I'm not going to pay for your bills.
Oh yeah, because people's credit gets destroyed, and it can get hairy.
But that's just atrocious. I'm shocked, but I'm not surprised that the U.S. government did that. I mean, they're locking up people for 20, 30 years that didn't even do anything. And I'm sure they get compensated, but is it really worth 25 years of your life to get a little bit of money off the government? And, you know, you lose your time of life, maybe with your kids or something like that. But that's a deep thing. I appreciate you bringing that up.
Yeah, that's heavy, as usual. Well, you listen to the B&C show. We got Crazy Kodak in the building.
What?
He's going to be back next week, so make sure you take a look at that. Kodak, you want to say goodnight to everybody or what?
Yeah, good night, everybody. Y'all have a good day, man. Stay classy. Everybody do their thing and keep it real for once, you know?
Thank you. Keep it real for one time in your life. You listen to the B&C show. Be back in 10 seconds.
I fart
rot in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster, and your father smelt of elderberries.
So I was doing some digging. See?
So what do you got?
I was just doing some digging. You know, I was just kind of interested in finding out, you know, inflation and things like this. Like,
Sure.
how far do you think $5 will get you?
Nowhere.
Well, I'm just saying how much food. I got a couple different
$5.
little food tidbits. You know, well, you know, in this country, $5 will get you a half a sandwich. In another country, you know, it'll get you, you know, 1 and 2, you know, 2 or, you know, 1 and 3/4 or something like that. So I
Yeah.
just wrote down a few
Sure, I'd love
different
to hear 'em.
food items. And
Great,
I
hit
thought
me.
this would just be cool because, you know, those of us who travel absolutely love it, but that's one of the things you have to contend with. Don't forget your toothbrush, but see how
Please
fucking
don't.
far the U.S. dollar will take you. Because you
This
might
sounds
be in
good.
some bad shit.
So what do you got?
All right, so just like, for instance, rice.
Okay.
The USA, $5 to get you 7 pounds of rice. In China, it'll get you 12 pounds of rice.
Wow.
Afghanistan, if you believe it, 14 pounds of rice, $2.
Jesus.
Okay, so but Japan,
Right.
only 2 pounds of rice. They're paying buku money for some rice in Japan. All right, check it out. So eggs, you're looking at 34 USA.
34 what?
34 eggs.
34
for $5
eggs.
bucks.
For $5.
Yeah,
Oh,
everything's
okay,
$5.
okay. I got you. I'm sorry. I'm with
No,
you.
you're gravy, man. China, 57.
57.
Yeah, just so you're noticing, like a lot of people get a little bit more in other countries for the U.S. Dollar, or it goes a little farther. Our brothers in Canada, right up north,
Yeah.
19 eggs, and only 15 in Sweden. All right,
Wow.
now check it out, beer, and you know this fluctuates.
Sure.
Because I looked this up and then went and bought beer today, and it was drastically, but it was an error at the supermarket. There was an error at the supermarket. It
I
was
love
marked
when that happens.
$14.99.
Yeah.
And I paid $13.99. It's probably the lowest. But that's a 24-pack.
You know
of
those-
some Bud Light.
Those big Foster cans I like to drink. They're like
Oh, yeah.
32s.
Oh yeah,
A store down the street fucked up, had them for $1. I cleaned them out.
you got to.
You got to. Go
You
ahead,
got
please. I'm
to.
sorry about that. I
So
had to
beer,
share.
okay, you can get roughly 4 beers. You know, of course, it depends on what beer you're drinking.
Right. That's cheap shit.
That 28
and,
pack, that 24 pack that I was just describing, that breaks down to about 58 to 60 cents a beer.
So you can get 4 beers in the States. What about other places?
All right, 1 in Japan.
Wow.
They're drinking shit like that Sapporo. They're drinking some
Tsingtao.
decent shit.
Yeah.
2 in the UK, and you actually can get 12 in China for $5.
Wow.
Boy,
The
but
Chinese
I just
like to party. If it's opium or booze, they like to party.
check this out. Potatoes, 7.7 pounds in the
Okay.
USA, 31 pounds in Ethiopia.
31 pounds in Ethiopia.
How? I mean, this is just fun. I was just like, wow. I was just amazed by some of these things that I saw. I just wanted to share it with everybody.
That was awesome.
Just to give you like a little perspective. I mean, of course, you're going to like, you know, the big cities on Earth.
Sure.
You know, Paris. You got Paris, New York, some
Yeah.
places in Cali. I mean, you're paying a lot more.
Oh, I bet.
But definitely, when you're traveling, make it a point to check out the ratio between the U.S. dollar and wherever you're going, the euro, or you know, dinar if you're hitting up the Middle East or something like that. So I just wanted to share that, man. Hopefully that was interesing to y'all.
That was great.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that. Yeah, there's kind of this change in food that's happening. We've talked about grass-fed products
Yeah.
on this program. And what people don't understand is how you get really, really, really good steaks is you pump them full of grain. Now, cattle isn't meant to eat grain.
They don't eat grain.
They don't eat grain.
But you know, we feed them that.
We force feed them grain. And that's what causes all this delicious marbling. Marbling is how you grade red meat.
Right. Obviously, the flavor comes from fat, right? That's what we're calling it.
Yeah, fat, that helps a lot. But where I'm going with this is obviously the GMO has gotten into the beer.
That's genetically modified organisms, right?
Correct.
So they're just changing the entire structure.
Correct.
Kind of like picking your gender of your kid.
It's heavy. So now you've got it into the beer. All the American beers have your GMOs. It's all in the, how would you say, like prepared meals, like the canned processed foods.
Yeah, those are good just for the length. You know what I'm eating a lot of lately? Fresh garden vegetables.
Oh man, yeah, his Uncle Jack.
We plant a garden every year, and
those green beans were fantastic.
They're good, man.
Yeah, man.
I got cabbage, tomatoes, all kinds of good stuff. I mean, that's what I like to eat, and it actually makes my body feel awesome. I hate to cut you off, but
I mean, that's,
go at it.
To
man.
me, we're pretty much on the same page. Ask yourself this: if you're listening to this program, when was the last time you could taste a tomato? You know, we put tomato and stuff like that on, but I mean, really taste it. You know, like everything you get at even like nicer places.
You can't beat it.
You can't taste it because
my favorite meals are with my family.
Oh yeah, home cooked meals are the best. That's the only thing I miss when I'm traveling is home cooking and
damn straight.
And Gaia, but Gaia passed.
Oh, sweet Gaia.
Rest in peace, our Dalmatian.
Probably just sitting there breathing right now.
Oh yeah, she's in the next dimension eating war cake,
whole
and
loaves of bread,
bags of onions. I swear, this dog, man, she was like a dishwasher disposal, man. She would eat anything and everything. She can get her little paws on. She just would destroy.
Still remember that time.
Candy. That bitch could eat candy.
I just still remember that time she ate your burger.
Oh.
We went to help those lovely ladies move something.
So
come back, guy eats the burger.
So flashback to 10 years ago.
Flashback.
Another story on Yuma here while we're at it. We get our Dalmatian Gaia. She was like half Dalmatian, half Black Fox Terrier, we think.
We're not sure.
We're not sure what. She definitely had Dalmatian because she had spots.
Born with the brothers and sisters and left in the desert to die.
Oh, yeah.
The Pound and Humane Society founder. And we actually went all around this pound and we looked at several dogs, but we really had a connection with Gaia.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you know, we brought her home, didn't even see her for 3 days.
She hid. It wasn't 3 days.
Okay.
She hid so good. We didn't know where the door hadn't been open. We know she's in here somewhere. We had a 2-story little apartment at the time.
She was tiny.
And she had this little yin-yang spot on her.
Oh, it was awesome.
You remember that yin-yang? She
all
was the
white
chosen
with
dog.
Black spots, yeah.
She was like the Jesus of dogs, you know.
But yeah, so we helped these ladies out.
So these girls come over that we'd never seen previously and never saw again. They were like two witches
weird.
or
It's
something.
like,
these two witches moved in, pretty little girls, asked
I never
us
did
to...
see them again.
Never saw them again.
That's kind of crazy.
Kind of creepy. So they bang on our door and like, will you help us move this couch? And we're like, fuck yeah.
Was it a couch that we moved?
I don't remember.
I can't remember.
I don't remember.
We thought that was an opportune moment.
But we were tight on money because, you know, all the money that we had, we threw at weed and beers, and B would bring food home whenever he could.
From the base.
I'm eating like peaches. And,
he's eating the B rations that I was getting.
And happy to have them too. It was like ramen was just...
Yeah, we did have about 6 pounds of peaches in there at all times. Just something
anyway.
I could get.
So a good day to us was sneaking down to Burger King. So we finally creeped down to Burger King and got like Junior Whoppers for us both. You know, because not like we weren't hungry. We were starving, but we were just like $1 for a Junior Whopper.
Right.
You know?
Right. I mean, yeah. But it was good. It was tasty at the time. And when you're that young, that's
20.
the food that you can handle.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't eat that shit now.
Oh, I haven't had McDonald's in...
I don't think I'll ever eat there again.
A year or two. Yeah, once the stuff really got out about what they're doing and everything, it's just like, oh, man.
Well, everybody's seen the little Facebook, social media posts about how, I mean, you could leave it on a counter for a year and it'll look the exact same. Ants and shit won't eat it.
No.
Cats will just, they don't even go smell it.
No.
So, I mean, it just goes to show, it's definitely processed food.
But just the end of the story, Gaia had ate the little Whopper while we were gone. I was so mad at her.
Oh, yeah, you got a little angry. This guy, actually, I was sitting in a chair, and Gaia, the little tiny scared dog, we only had her for a couple months now at this point.
She was still little.
She was still kind of growing on us, and we were growing on her.
Oh, yeah.
And I was sitting in a chair, and C, I'm a little bit bigger than C, and I'm sure I weigh a lot more. But C actually picked me up in the chair and set me to the side, a good 2 feet. I couldn't believe it. Like the adrenaline was flowing. You picked me up, and it was kind of fun. I was so surprised.
Oh.
I thought you were just gonna tilt the chair over and throw me down or something. I didn't know what was gonna happen, so I just kind of let it play out. But you picked me up. I was about a foot off the ground, and you set me down. And I'm not sure what happened to Guy at that point.
I'm pretty chill. I mean, but don't fuck with my food and don't fuck with my family.
Boom.
I don't know. That's pretty much it. Everything else I can let slide, really.
Boom.
I don't know. But you listen to B&C Show and be back in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
A lot more to go. We'll see you here in a minute.
Don't you ever fuck with the best corner in the game.
Who's talking now? Crabtree! Don't you ever fuck with the best corner in the game. Alright?
You're listening to the BNC show on the whatever the fuck network this is.
So words got back to me that people mobbed Johnny Long Dongs saying they could get free ice. We told you guys.
There was no ice.
There was no ice. We told you that.
So we're happy he showed up, and he made a killing.
He did.
And continue to go there. I know he's got, Barbie's at Behind Bar.
Well, what he told me he did is he you know how you go into the place and you open the first door, but there's another door you got to open?
Yeah, that's called
what's that called?
It's called a sally port or a lobby.
So what he did is he opened the first door, let everybody come in, and then just pump weed into the room. So that when everybody got through the second door,
that's great.
Is they were starving and they bought up all the cookies.
They did. There was, I think that was the most cookies. I have to confirm with the Guinness Book, but I think it was the most cookies ever consumed by humans.
Oh, I saw something the other day. Before I forget about this, so you're the shark expert, right? And then there was
I love sharks.
We were talking about the World Cup. So you know that guy Suarez that bit the player and he got suspended. So it was Uruguay. There was a guy playing with Uruguay, bit the hell out of somebody. This is his third time over the last few years that he's bit somebody during a game.
What is the thing with people biting during sports? Like I've never had the urge. I played sports.
Never.
I love the competition, but I never wanted to bite anybody.
I've wanted to kill people. Like I've gotten like unsportsmanlike conduct penalties for acting a fool. I know what it's like to want to eat somebody alive, but never like bite them. Never bite. But check this out. You're gonna love this. Since 2005. Suarez has played in 441 matches for Uruguay's national team and various clubs. That's a lot of numbers, so he's a bona fide superstar over there. So let's say, assuming 11 starting players and 3 substitutes per game, which is what you're allowed, roughly a little bit more than 6,000 players have gone up against Suarez and have been at risk of getting bit. Okay, now that puts the odds of Suarez biting an opponent 1 in 2,000.
Wow.
Right, 1 in 2,000. The odds of getting killed by a shark while swimming is 1 in 3.7 million.
Yeah, there's not.
So you have a higher chance of getting bit by Suarez than you do getting killed by a shark.
Yeah, and another statistic is you have a better chance of getting hit with a coconut than getting bit by a shark.
Oh yeah, you told me that one. That was a good one.
Yeah, and that's and what's strange is that if you're within waist deep water, there's a shark within 10 feet of you. I mean, just think about you walking up the pier.
Oh yeah.
Everybody catches sharks.
I'm still scared of sharks.
I mean, granted, they're babies, but like you just said, you don't have an opportunity. But they're within 10 feet of you, man. So
I'm really scared of sharks. They freak me out.
No, they're cool, man. They're actually awesome. Their metabolism is like 30 times that of humans.
Really?
It's insane, man. I mean,
Jesus.
Sharks are actually awesome creatures, man.
I'm petrified of them.
See, next week I will come with some facts about sharks, man. My facts about Earth and facts about sharks.
Oh, you had said something about Japan earlier. Here's another cute thing. I love stating facts that kind of slip under the radar.
Yeah.
So when you go to a game, everybody basically trashes the stadium.
Of
Usually
course.
when you leave the place,
of
is a
course,
disaster.
Yeah.
Empty everything.
Somebody's got to clean it up.
Karma
does come back, people.
You know what the Japanese fans did during the World Cup after their matches?
What the hell did they do?
They stayed after the match and cleaned up their side of the Coliseum.
They're fantastic for that.
So big up to the Japanese fans. I mean, that
got to lower the fucking price of rice, though.
I did not expect that. The sportsmanship has been really high. Outside of that biting that we were described, I mean, it's been really
right.
It's been a real pleasure to see the
Well,
sportsmanship.
it's a motto. I mean, especially I remember last year, like that whole respect thing. They all wore patches and things like that. Now I see more things like Adidas, Kia Motors,
Budweiser.
Yeah, but the fans are beautiful. They're actually awesome, man. They're singing the national anthem the whole time.
Love it.
It's like a girls showing their stuff.
I love the video production guys are run by guys like us. I can guarantee it because they go looking for pretty girls in the crowd and they show it. And
there's always a few, aren't there?
The same time they show it on live TV, they show it on the monitor at the stadium too.
Yeah.
And it always takes the people a minute to realize they're on the screen, and then they freak out.
They freak out.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's always fun. There's so many pretty girls.
There's a lot. Those
Wow.
stadiums hold a lot, man. But I was hearing that there's more American fans down there than any other team.
They were claiming there was 20,000 at the Germany game.
American fans.
Yeah.
That was a big deal. Obviously, it's going to be like the Super Bowl, though. If you go to a game, you bought tickets to a game, you got to pick a side. You might not even like the teams, but they're going to be selling the merchandise and things like that. But I've seen, at like a U.S. game, a guy with a Mexico jersey, like
Sure.
So teams that aren't even playing, you'll see. But
apparently, a lot of the businesses in Brazil have just shut down. Like, obviously, there's stuff that you're going to be able to make money on, like restaurants and bars. Of course, they're jumping. But
Right.
like a lot of the factories, they've just closed down for the month
This
and
is
say,
a
fuck
big
it.
deal,
Yeah,
man.
this is a religious.
this is a
man.
big deal. I like it.
Yeah, it's heavy. It's real
I like
heavy.
it. I like it that it's in South America. Am I weird for that? I just
no,
love it.
I think there's something mystic and magical about South America.
I like that. I like the Amazon too. That's
I do.
a place I will travel.
It is hot down there.
I'm not
man.
worried about it, man.
Holy
I'm worried
hell.
about the wasps that fly in your penis and anacondas jumping out the
Oh,
water.
Jesus.
But I'm definitely going to travel down that river. Also, the Nile, man.
The Nile? Oh,
The
yeah,
Nile,
yeah. Yeah, we got two guys down there I want to give a big shout-out to down in Brazil, Bob and Dave, Formula of Fresh Salsa fame. Local guys doing their thing. Real nice guys. They're
Pretty
down there
damn good at
partying.
soccer themselves.
They're good.
Actually.
They've been posting a lot of pictures and videos on their Facebook. And
I've seen them play. I mean, they had a cool little team over here, and they could actually play pretty damn well.
We'll have to go see them play when they get back from their partying down there.
For sure. Big shout out to them, though.
Big shout
I
out.
hope they're safe, and I hope they're enjoying themselves.
Enjoy yourself, man. We're thinking about you, and keep posting pictures because we're
Please.
loving that.
All right, so yeah, we got the facts of the earth. I guess this is my new thing. I don't know. Is it?
I love it.
It's just cool. I like it. I guess I should be a fucking astronaut or something one day. But this is the type of stuff that really gets my rocks off.
Love it.
All right, so we have man-made objects in space.
Yes.
Since 1957, the Sputnik, which is basically the start of all this, there have been 38,000 man-made objects in space.
So it's becoming like a trash fill.
It could possibly, but see, here's what's crazy to me. They're saying that one object a day of space junk returns to Earth. So watch your fucking face. There might be a wrench or something like that falling from space.
Now, let me
I don't
ask
know
you
where
this.
it falls, man.
This is what I'm scared of. Let's say some space debris falls on your house, and your insurance doesn't carry it. I heard that's something that you have to pay for.
like a specialty.
It's like a special
insurance.
clause in your insurance.
I don't think anybody cared. I actually was baffled because I thought things might have fell from space.
Oh,
but,
constantly.
But they're saying at least one thing a day.
A lot of the small shit burns up in the atmosphere, but the bigger things.
Yeah, but if
that's
it's like
scary.
a metal nut, I mean, like a nut and bolt.
Oh, it could probably kill you. If
Yeah,
it
it would
hits you.
go straight through your dome piece. They're saying like a penny from the Empire State Building.
Slice you in half.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, imagine, half whatever falling back from space.
Like the wing of a telescope falling out of orbit.
It's actually crazy, man. That's crazy. So, I mean, that intrigued me. And then just another little thing. I mean, this is not super important, but they're saying each year, 1 septillion, which is a trillion trillions.
Okay. Wow, that's a huge number.
That's how many snowflakes fall on Earth.
What?
Yes. That's crazy, right? Like, and I'm wondering, like, who the fuck was counting all that shit? But that's a trillion trillion. It's called a septillion.
I guess you could just try to measure how much an average snowflake weighs, and then
just judge
how
it.
much area is covered by snow. I have no idea.
They
how you
say
get
that, and I mean, it's got to be, it's snowing up in the poles, but the poles actually have more water than the oceans do. But our Earth is at least 71% water. So just to know that most of it, I like that fact actually. That most of it's up in the poles.
Great facts. I enjoyed that. That's heavy.
Yeah, so
we're kind of feeling some pressure from outside sources to powers to be, if you will, to kind of narrow things into segments and everything.
Which we don't give a fuck about sources.
We really don't give a damn. But I mean, I guess at the end of the day, if this thing continues to move the way it's moving, then we're going to have to do more shows than one a week. if it gets to where we're trying to get it to go. So you're going to be seeing more segments and a little bit more organization out of us. We love the feedback we've been getting via Instagram.
We need more
Facebook,
call-ins.
YouTube.
Call in.
Love to have you be a guest of the BNC show. You know how to get a hold of us. It's
Ask
not
us
very
questions.
difficult.
Tell us how much we suck. Whatever you want to talk about. Just
Talk
make
a
sure
little
you
shit.
call in.
We had a guy. Talk bad about the Seahawks on the air, and I didn't boot him. So that just shows you can come in and say anything you want, really.
Which, yeah, that was funny. He actually, speaking of boot, that was one of the topics he brought up as well. So a lot of interesting things coming down here.
I don't have a boot fetish either. I got somebody asked me if I
my
was
boot.
really. Somebody was asking me, so do you like humping boots? And I'm like, no.
I hump my boot. But see,
not
that's
really
the shit
into
people
it.
are doing, though. I mean, that's literally what's going on. People are humping their boot.
Oh man, those times
Like
in
air
your life to
fresheners
where
and
you're,
shit.
Experimenting. That's good stuff.
Well, it just goes to show you how close we are to animals there. I mean, you're humping air fresheners. Like, we got to talk.
Oh man, I saw
Billy,
something.
we got to talk.
My mom loves to show me funny things, and sometimes she'll show me something sad. And yesterday she's like, "Oh, you got to see this." So I'm like thinking it's something cute. What it was is this big gorilla. I mean, it was a monster gorilla.
Yeah.
He had hit it off with this baby kitten.
Oh, okay.
And they became really, really good friends.
They were friends. Good.
They would
good.
become great friends. And the gorilla would hold the little kitty and rock him and everything.
Okay. You're
Very,
getting a little
very-
soft on me now these days.
Well,
but you're telling a story what your mom showed you.
it's
so
sad. Basically, so the kitty grows up to be a cat and accidentally gets hit by a car. And the gorilla could use sign language. And the trainer explained to him that the kitty wouldn't be coming back. And that night, that gorilla cried. Because they've got, like, mics and cameras on them. So when nobody was around, the gorilla
There
cried.
is a lot of intelligence in the primates.
Big time.
There's a couple of them that are just extremely smart. So, I mean, look into it. Actually, all animals are. But funny story, not to break away from what you said. The
From
other
C
day,
being depressing, I'm sorry.
just the other day, and I've seen this happen twice. Squirrels are pretty agile.
They are.
They're
awesome.
jumping from tree to tree. They're doing backflips and landing.
Crazy shit.
Right? Have you ever seen one just fall right on its face?
Never.
I've seen this happen twice. And it happened again the other day. And it hit the ground, like, I swear, like it was like a rock. It was like, thoom. And I was like, really? And the squirrel was hurt, man. And I wanted to go check on it. But the guy, like, scampered off a little bit, but he did not go far. He was just like, oh, man. But the other time, which this squirrel, and like I said, I rep the squirrels up, man. Other than them running out in front of my car all the time and, like, acting super confused on which way to go, you're thinking, just go. I don't care which way you go. I'm not moving. But anyway, this other one was overtop this. There's an awesome greenway in Charlotte I used to run on. Which the greenway is kind of like it is a natural floodland that they just built a nice little trail on, like a walking trail with different exercises, things like that. So it has this big ass like creek running beside it. It's damn near qualified as a river because this thing is huge. But this squirrel was crossing some limbs up there and fell right in the water.
Oh no!
It was hilarious, man. I was like, I had to stop running, man. I hate to laugh. I mean, that's another animal's misfortune, but they are so acrobatic. You're like, why can't you just walk on the ground? But like, to see one just fall from the tree and not have a clue how it's going to land.
Oh,
I know
man.
I broke off there, but
I enjoyed it. I got a couple squirrel buddies that hang out here. I'm always
Cool,
worried
man.
for their safety because motherfuckers around here just drive through the neighborhood at 50 miles an hour with their subwoofers blasting.
well, what do you do, man? I mean, like some people will swear, but I mean,
If it's just me, I'm gonna try to stop. I mean, in those
Yeah.
situations to where if you're on the highway or something, you got other people to worry about, then you really
But
can't
everybody
stop.
knows
But
this. You can picture a time when a squirrel, you're going 35, 40 miles an hour. The guy comes in front of your car, stops dead in front of your car, and then like jukes one way, jukes the other way, and you don't see it because you're actually that close. And you look back and you just hope everything ended
You
up
hope
okay.
he's still moving. Yeah. that's
Hope
all
everything
I'm
ended up okay, man.
saying. Yeah. All right, well, we're starting to run out of time. We got two more big things to hit. We've
Big
got
time.
This Week in History, and we've got a special this week on Colts.
Yes.
So we'll be back in 10 seconds.
They've done studies, 60% of the time, it works every time.
By the way, this is Big C.
Big C, we got
And
my
hello,
father in the building.
Hello and hello.
He was such a smash, we had to bring him back.
Oh, sure, yeah.
People-
I
no,
did have a couple of a couple of people on my blog who dropped in from your
No kidding.
YouTube thing. Yeah, absolutely. And
Well, that's what it's about,
that was
spreading
pretty
knowledge.
Groovy. I thought that was pretty groovy. I mean, it was
Yeah.
like, okay, well, welcome to the blog, and I'm sorry it's not what you expected.
Just give it a chance.
Sorry it didn't live up to your expectations, but you know,
A lot of people came
I
up
never
to me
promised
and,
anybody that it was going to be all that great. So.
Oh, people are really, I mean, they enjoy the segments that we bring, but they really, I mean, yours was so informative. They were coming up to me saying, I had no idea about, like, any of that.
Oh, yeah. A lot of people actually went and bought a lot of those supplements that you were talking about.
Well, I wish I had invested in supplement companies before I plugged
pull a
those
Dr.
supplements.
Oz. And
yeah. They weren't big back in the day, right? Your Arnold Schwarzenegger, he was just eating a lot of food, right? Or was he,
no,
what
I mean
was he doing?
Arnold had some
He
help.
He had some juice.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah. He got some liquid in there.
All the big guys had help. I mean, let's face it. I mean, in the 80s and 90s, if I'm not using the S word here, but I mean, there was stuff. Okay, well, I will use the S word. Stuff. There was stuff available that would help build muscle and make you bigger, and that you cannot legally get today.
Now, yeah.
I mean, you could still conceivably get it, of course,
Right,
and
right.
some guys do, but just like, other things that you smoke or other things that
Hello.
yeah, I mean, we won't mention any of those, but the truth is that today you really do have it harder. You can't get the help you used to be able to get in a supplement. You used to be able to go to a supplement store, and I'm not talking about 20 years ago either here, Brandon. I'm talking about, let's say 2006, 2005, before they passed that stupid law.
Yeah.
You could go into a supplement store and buy something called a pro hormone.
Okay.
That would have acted very much like a real hormone.
Really?
It would have, and your body would have converted to a hormone. That's why
crazy.
I call it pro hormone. And there were all kinds of very effective pro hormones available that you could buy for $30 or $40 a bottle that would put some serious mass on you. And I mean, I used some of those myself, I have to admit. And they weren't at the time. They were perfectly legal. They weren't.
Right.
They weren't covered under any law, and they weren't prohibited. And so you could go into this. You could go in. I had a buddy who owned a supplement shop at the time, and I would go in and say, "Well, what do you got new?"
Yeah.
And
Tell me
he'd
about
have a rack.
Well, I
of
got this
stuff.
here. Well, this hadn't been tested yet, but we'll give it to you.
The
Kinds
fish
of
oil.
stuff. Now, of course, you had to know. I mean, you had to be informed. You had to study up on it yourself. You had to know what you were putting in your
Getting
body
into, yeah.
before you took it. And that's how I got involved in studying supplements and studying the hormones and all that, because I had to know, man. I mean, if he said, well, this is great, and I'd look at the label and it'd say, well, it was 1-7 diene, you know, I had to know what the hell that was.
Right.
And there's
Go home
only
and look it
one
up.
way. Oh, you couldn't look it up. I mean, it wasn't like there was a lot of information about hormones
Right,
back then
right.
on the net. Like today, I think you could probably look up just about any chemical that if you came across it in a supplement store and you wanted to know what it was, you could look it up pretty easy today. But I'm not. 10 years ago, the net was not. Web pages weren't sophisticated like they are today.
Right. It's definitely been a lot of advancement.
Wikipedia, for instance.
Oh,
I mean, how many
yeah.
people, think about Wikipedia as a real accurate source of information, and
Big time.
and it indeed is a very good source.
It's pretty good.
10 years ago,
Yeah. And I think people on Wikipedia can actually, like you and I can enter in facts on Wikipedia.
You
Absolutely,
can.
you
There's,
could write an
yeah,
article,
exactly.
Brandon, on something you were knowledgeable about. Let's say
Right.
breaking down an M16 1A.
Right.
If there's anybody could tell me in the world how to break down an M16, you can break one down. Okay, you could
clean
write an
that
article
gun
on
about
it.
1,000 times.
Yeah, you could write an article on that. And if there's an article that needs to be written, and there's plenty of them out there, Wikipedia puts, I guess, a list of articles they're looking for. If you want to write on it, hey, man.
That's a site I actually frequent a lot.
I love this site.
Yeah, it gives me a lot of info.
Sure, and good info. I mean, usually it's very accurate information. And it wasn't that way 10, 15 years ago when if you typed in Google or whatever you were using back then as a web search.
What was it? Was it Google?
It was Google. We were using Google 10 years ago.
Google.
Alta Vista was around back then.
Alta Vista, yeah. I did use Alta Vista.
Okay.
There was and Yahoo actually at one time
Yahoo
was
big,
jam.
Search
actually,
and the
I
chat
still have a
rooms
Yahoo
and all that.
email, and
I
actually
did too, yeah.
get criticized for having it.
Why?
Well, everybody wants to move to Gmail, which I like Gmail. I like the whole Google Docs and all that, but I got the same phone number I've always had.
What is it
Things
about
like
people?
that, like,
why they got to be so damn elitist all the time?
I don't know, man.
I mean, it's
don't
like
know.
they judge you on everything.
They really do.
People
Yeah,
laughing
yeah,
at my
yeah.
email address.
Yeah,
I'm like,
big time. Well, email address.
You're still on AOL. What's going on?
Screw you, man. I mean,
Who gives a fuck?
Hey, you're going to judge what I'm driving. You're going to judge what I'm
Oh,
wearing.
yeah.
I just bought a pair of and one. I like it.
He's been wearing
All right,
and ones for
cool.
years.
Okay.
He's
I
been
love
wearing,
those
yeah,
shoes.
yeah.
Okay, I've been
yeah.
wearing them for years.
He hasn't played basketball in 30 years, but every
never
time,
played basketball.
every
It's a
time he
dumb
gets a
game.
new pair of
But
shoes.
I forget that. I forget I said that in North Carolina.
It doesn't matter.
But I was wearing my ones, and I love these things.
Right.
And a buddy of mine walked up to me and said, "Where did you get those old shoes?" Well, to me, they're not old. I just bought them, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
I just bought them.
The retro thing is cool, though. You know,
But I
everybody
don't
enjoys
live up
retro
to
stuff.
anybody's idea. And screw their blingity bling bling and all this
Yeah.
other bullshit they've got.
They get
today.
mad. They get mad when you wear Adidas socks with Nikes. Like
yeah.
I'm like, who gives a fuck?
Hey,
You know, label and a guy. I was sitting at a light on my bike today, and a guy said, "What kind of bike is that?"
Right.
That's not a Harley.
Oh yeah.
Well, I own a Harley, but I don't care what the brand. What I care about is that I can dust your ass at that light.
Right.
When that light turns green, I'm a half a mile ahead of you already, and you're still sitting at the light going, "Oh, that's not a Harley." Well, you know
Yeah.
what? I don't care if it's a Harley.
Man, it's all about what you're comfortable with. Like you think if I go to a guitar shop.
Oh, now I like that Fender shirt, by the way.
I appreciate
that
it.
Fender shirt is the
Yeah.
heat, man.
But I'm just
It's got a Stratocaster
I like
on
it.
there.
It's Soul of Tone. You know,
Oh,
we have Adam's
man.
Tone.
Oh yeah,
so
anything that says tone on it, he's gonna wear.
I'm all about it.
You got a picture of a Stratocaster on there. I just don't know if you could get any cooler than that right there.
We're gonna
That
have to
is a
start
cool
doing
shirt.
video. I think that's gonna be the next step for season 2. I think we've got a couple more shows to fulfill our obligations for season 1. What is this? Show 8.
This is week
So
8.
you got a few more. You got a few more shows, and I think the next step's going to be the video chat.
You're gonna have to clean this studio up.
Oh, I know.
Maybe
Well, I mean,
do,
it's got
like,
kind
on
of
location.
it's
And
got
like-
the whole
well,
Hawk
I mean,
gun.
you
we
could,
have a
like,
mobile
you know.
studio, so we can go anywhere.
You could have,
Yeah.
you could have
We-
a cameraman, or you could just like focus it on the beer cans.
No,
A
there's no
stack of
beer
beer.
can. Everything's in the trash can. I mean, usually, you know.
What I'm liking is he's got Johnny 5 up there, that little robot. Hey, laser lips.
Oh yeah.
I wanted to tell you guys, though, I'm very impressed with the technological advances you guys have made in the last couple of weeks.
It's all because of you.
Oh, well,
man.
thank
No,
you
no,
for
no,
the-
no.
Come
thank you
on
for the
now.
3
I mean,
mics.
All I can
mean,
tell
yeah.
you is that this is very impressive. Everything's on mic stands. I mean, you got matching mics. I mean, this is like, what
See,
the
she got
hell,
a lot
man?
of
This is
little
like,
pressure there.
He, my father bought me. My father, who's with us right
Holy
now,
moly.
CM O'Shawnee. He actually bought us 3 mics, and
They're awesome.
And they are, yeah. They're
You would
awesome.
think
I
you
did
would
check
think
them
his
out.
problem with the show would
They're
be
awesome.
like how vulgar we are, but no. The problem was you guys don't have mic stands. What the fuck are you having a show?
I have to admit, the last time I was on, I was holding that mic, and I felt like I was Monty Hall.
Right.
In like 1962. And what's behind door number 2?
It's a broke down car.
Hey, did you guys realize, and I don't know if you realize this or not, but there's something, there is an anomaly in the way that you choose doors. Like, for instance, let's say you were on Monty Hall's Let's Make a Deal.
Okay, so you're going to like psychology of it.
Okay, well, it's weird. Now,
Okay.
this is the weird part about this, okay?
Right.
You go on and you choose door number 1.
Right.
Okay. And he says to you, okay, I'm going to open door number 3.
Right.
All right, so they open door number 3, and of course there's nothing behind there.
Right.
Now there's only a 50%, theoretically, there's only a 50% chance of you being wrong or being right of picking the right door, right?
For these last 2.
But that's the weird part about it. You are statistically better off changing your vote.
Changing it.
Whatever it was.
Really?
Changing it. And most people won't, by the way. The statistics say that like 90% of the people...
They're taught not to.
Stick with their first choice.
Yeah.
But there's actually a statistical advantage that nobody can explain if you change your vote to door number 2. They did studies there was a study in England, plus there was a TV study on, you know, those guys that do those crazy experiments,
the Mythbusters.
Mythbusters.
They
did a Mythbusters episode, and the statistical advantage was like 80 to 20.
Really?
They did like 100 tests, and 80 times you were better off changing your vote. Now that is just plain weird. There was also a Brit.
That's crazy.
There was also a Brit, the guy who does one of the English guys on the car show. What's that car show I liked that the Stig
with
is
the
on?
Stig. That's called
Top Gear.
Top Gear.
Yes.
Yeah. The guy from Top
English
Gear, the
and
English guy,
yeah.
the sissy one.
Okay. I can't speak. He might beat me up. I'm not as big
seems like
as you.
a nice guy. I don't know if he's. I don't know what the story is, but I can't think of the guy's name. But he did a study. He did a study of this as well, and they had like 200 samples.
Yeah.
Again, it came out like some ridiculous number. You were better off changing. Now, there's no rational or reasonable explanation for why you should change, because theoretically, right? You got a 50% chance.
You would think, and you just eliminated one, so you got to be feeling good about it.
Yeah,
that's weird though. But if it's 80%,
Isn't it
then
weird?
I'm gonna do it. I mean, but
there's no real reason why it should be like that. It should be pretty close to 50-50, or maybe 40-60, maybe, I don't know.
Well, yeah.
But why is there such a huge advantage to changing? Because you had 3 choices.
Right.
They didn't eliminate one of your choices because they just showed you what one of them was.
So it has to happen after they show you something?
Yeah, they have to show you door number 3 if you didn't choose.
Okay.
Door number 3.
That's
they have
weird.
to show you a door you didn't choose, but I don't see why that would change anything.
Well, it's weird. You brought up statistics. Weird fun facts that Brandon knows. You're more likely to get shit on by a bird if you've just bought the clothes, brand new clothes. No, I'm serious. This is legit. If you got a fresh haircut,
yeah.
And if you you won't get shit on, but your car will get shit on if you just wash your car. And
Birds
you
are
kind of
smart,
always
man.
notice
They're waiting
that
for
it
you.
seems like
Yeah,
they
they're
watch
waiting.
you and see.
They are waiting for the opportunity.
Are they vindictive or what? But you're more
conspiratorial.
You're more likely to get shit on by a bird.
Oh yeah.
And I've met people, and we're at it, back to high school. My man was wearing a ROTC uniform.
Oh boy.
And that's got to be pressed and dressed.
Oh man.
And he got shit on by a bird. I felt bad for him, but
no, these birds got bad attitudes.
They're smart, man. They wait for you to fuck up. They wait.
A lot like chicks, really, when you think about it.
Kinda.
All right, well, we got to touch base here.
Well, you're more likely to pick up a girl if you sweat every day. That's from Men's Health.
Is that true?
That's what I hear.
Well, French. If it was a French girl, I'd understand it because they like that ode.
I mean, I guess you're putting out the pheromones or whatever, but
pheromones are big.
You got to take pheromones serious.
Pheromones are very, very serious.
Yeah, actually, there is a pheromone out there that it's called something lactone. I can't think of the name of it right off the top of my head, but it's something lactone, and it is a very effective pheromone. If guys are interested in wearing a pheromone that really does work, that this diphenyl lactone or whatever it is, it ends in lactone. I do remember that.
Okay. But they can just look up pheromone.
They can just look up pheromone and we'll look up something that has lactone in the end of it.
Right.
And it is a very effective pheromone that actually works and actually attracts women. Now, it also repels a certain amount of women, apparently, according to the study.
Right,
of course,
right.
when you're dealing with that, yeah.
Yeah, you can't blanket it. You're just going to be percentages.
Don't want a man to smell.
Well, they go with just like we do, the chemicals that attract you. is what you're attracted to. There's some people that you have to be beside, and there's some people that you don't want to be near. And I think that's.
Now, do you think there are a lot of women out there that are attracted to guys that just aren't that manly? Is that what?
Yes,
maybe that's...
I do. I think that they kind of view that as an opportunity for them to be aggressive.
Oh,
I mean, that could be true, and
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess that's true. I
mean, there's got to be when you introduce a scale. If you have beauty and ugly and rich and poor, there now creates a scale. So yeah, if she wants you because you sweat every day, girl B might not. Girl B might just be.
Because I sweat every day.
I think,
but I sweat
healthy,
every moment. I think
it's healthy. I mean, it cleans you out. I mean, metabolism and all that good stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Well, let me ask you this: there's apparently some genetically altered bacteria that they just discovered that it's preventing mice from getting fat.
Oh.
And I have the.
Do mice
what's
get
the
fat?
name of the?
I have the bacteria, and I'm going to show you because I'm not even going to try to pronounce it here. See if you can. See if you can give that an attempt.
Oh, wow.
What the hell is that?
I mean.
Yeah, and if it's fucking you up, imagine how bad I would have pronounced it.
Yeah, and actually, yeah.
Do mice get fat, though?
Yeah, but see, the thing is, this is not a bacteria. It is not a bacteria. That is obviously a amino acid. And the reason I know that is because it ends with, it starts with N dash.
Right.
Okay, and it ends with lamine. That is a amino acid.
Okay.
It is not a bacteria, and I would
Which would make sense at that point, because amino acids...
amino acids are very much key to how your body operates.
Right.
There are some very effective... Beta-alanine, I was telling you about last time I was here. Beta-alanine is an example of a amino acid that's very effective in the body. You can take amino acids that will change your body chemistry. For instance, carnosine. L-carnosine will change your metabolism.
Well, I mean, the reason why I bring it up is women are on this crusade to find some instant poof, I'm skinny again remedy, and I encourage women and other people that are looking into, I don't want to use the term experimental stuff, but there's a lot of dietary stuff out there that is dangerous.
Okay.
And I encourage, really look into it.
A story about they came up with a fat burner in the early 1900s.
Really?
That was so effective that not only did it burn fat, but it actually singed your bones if you took too much of it.
Jesus. This is what I'm talking
DNP,
about.
it was called DNP. And
not to be confused with DMT.
do not take, if you know somebody who knows what DNP is or knows where to, do not take this stuff.
If it's singe, well, you mean
stuff,
singe, like it's like acid
burned.
or something.
They actually did autopsies on people who actually kind of just killed themselves with this stuff.
With this shit, Jesus.
And they looked at their bones, and their bones were singed.
That's strange.
Oh, it's
well, they
scary.
had a lot of little potions. Like people would just pull up, little con artists, quack.
Oh, sure.
And they would be selling potions.
There's a lot of crap out there, even today.
There was no regulation on that. Not that the one that's out now actually helps, but there was zero back in the day. He was a salesman.
It used those snake oil things and of course you still see the crap on television.
Oh,
you still see it advertised.
Oh, yeah.
That stuff most of that stuff doesn't do anything. It's just to make profit. There are effective fat burners out there. I mean, ephedra was a very, when you mix the ephedra with caffeine and aspirin, it was a very effective fat burner. It was called ECA.
Because you just didn't want to eat, right?
No, it's not like that at all. I mean, it ramped up your... well, basically what happened was your body's fight or flight mechanism would kick in. And so as long as you were on this stuff, it was ramped up. So you were burning more calories because your heart was burning, or you were beating faster. Your blood pressure was up a little bit, but you were also generating a lot of heat from your skin.
Right.
And so you were burning a lot more calories while you were on this. The ephedra would amp up your neurosystem. The aspirin would buffer the ephedra and let it work longer and not get cleared from your system as long. And the caffeine kind of worked as kind of to cooperate with all those things. So it would keep you kind of mellow without getting too jittery but it would definitely amp you up.
Right.
And ECA was one of the most effective legal fat burners that was available, and then of course they decided that since guys were making crank out of it, that they would take it off the shelves, and what they did basically was illegal.
Right.
The FDA didn't have authority to ban ephedra, but they did anyway.
They do straight C's. I mean, they're in control.
Well, yeah, anybody who doesn't think they are will find the guys knocking on their door at 2 in the morning.
They'll show up. Yeah. We've learned that the hard way.
You better understand that they're running stuff.
Do you know who talks to them well?
Who?
Your son. C.
Yeah, well, he's learned diplomacy over the years. I mean, he's always been diplomatic. I mean,
you know what we used to say back in high school is we could talk our way out of a wet paper bag.
There have been some situations.
But we're just, I mean, like we state, I mean, we're just good people, and like what we say is the truth, and I give them a wink every now and then.
Truthfully, I mean, I'm in an affiliated type of job, and if somebody gives me trouble, I give them trouble back.
There's nothing wrong with it.
I think that the best thing to do is if you got a problem with law enforcement, a law enforcement officer says something to you that's out of line, that's not the time to make anything out of it.
No.
The time to make it. Go to court, talk to the judge, explain what happened.
Give the badge number, all that good stuff.
That's what your dad was a police officer. Let's face it, you would know. Don't mouth off to a police officer. It's stupid.
Don't
you
argue.
can't win that.
No.
You're never going to. It's just going to elongate the situation too. Instead of 30 seconds, you're going to be there for 3 hours.
Yes, sir.
Think about it in your own situation where you're at your job, whatever you do. You work at a place, whatever you do. You obviously have your day job. Think about it when somebody, if you even deal with the public, crosses you the wrong way. You're like, fuck you, man. And I mean, these police officers are just human beings.
Yeah, give the guy a trouble when you go in for a latte.
Yeah.
And see if maybe what is in your latte ain't cream at all.
You definitely don't want things
okay,
like
I mean, it's any job. I don't give a damn
Sure.
what you're gonna fight back. So
treat people with respect.
Yeah, the truth is, police officers, most of those guys are just doing their job. Sometimes some of us say, okay, but should there be so many laws on the books that they can arrest you for anything or just roust you for anything? No, of course not.
Right.
I mean, and selective enforcement and all that other stuff. But if you just take that out of the equation and say, what's the practical approach?
You got to be pretty much doing something stupid anyway, or be in a sticky situation for them to be around. I mean, in cities as big as ours, I mean, you got to be.
Yeah.
Either you're driving stupid or
you don't have enough cops. Like in Charlotte, if you look at Charlotte,
you peed on your truck or something like that. Like, I mean,
got enough cops. You don't have enough cops to roust people for no reason.
Exactly.
I mean, they're busy doing stuff.
Yeah.
They got better things to do than to roust you because they don't like the way your nose is cocked or that you wear your hair a little longer than the average.
Just
guy.
check out your Slammer magazine or whatever the equivalent is,
Well,
and you'll understand who's getting in trouble and why.
Yeah,
I mean.
it just really depends on who you run into. I've run into very reasonable officers, and I've run into officers who are like asking me what gang I'm in.
And they do things to prompt you. Yeah, well, he's in the Buttercream gang.
I mean, obviously, my appearance.
You seen that movie?
No, I haven't.
It's
but
old.
I like
It's
the
cool.
sound of that.
Oh, yeah.
I would like to tell people out there that, I mean, if you do have, a quote-unquote alternative look about you, there's going to be some things that come along with that. And I don't want to hear the whole, well, I'm an individual card, because you can look at me and tell that I really don't give a fuck. But I guarantee you, when I go to the airport, they give me a hard time. It's just your appearance, and people do this. It's like, I don't want to say it's being racist or it's being stereotypical, but it's natural for you to observe someone and kind of draw.
Sure.
Whether is this person a danger to me?
It happens.
Everybody does that. I
And
mean, if I see a dog,
that's an instinct. I think.
If I'm walking down the street and there's this dog that's coming at me,
you gotta,
full blast,
with
his teeth showing, I'm going to jump to conclusions. I admit that. Okay, if a guy is walking through the airport and they're looking for drugs, and there's a guy acting like he's out of his mind, and he
or
looks
sweating really
roll,
bad, or looking nervous as
and
shit,
looks to roll, they're going to ask him questions before they ask Joe Suit.
Yeah,
who is
the guy that's in there 3 times a week.
Oh,
he goes to Cali every week.
So I mean, if you really don't want to get hassled, the easiest thing to do is to just act like everybody else is acting, and don't act out. I mean, if you act out, you're going to get
The only reason why I
special
bring
attention.
this up is years ago, my father had told me, he's like, people are going to judge you by the way you look. And us coming from kind of the quote-unquote the new age to where those things have gone away, they have not gone away.
No,
I
I'm
mean,
with you.
they're
And you know
not.
the thing is, I dress when I go on an airplane because I know I'm going to get better treatment. I think it's just human nature, and if you use that to your advantage, then there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
If on the other hand you choose not to, and you'd go in wearing a pair of shorts and a tank top,
Smelling like weed.
and you're the first one to get bumped.
Yeah.
Because
Don't be surprised.
The plane is overbooked. Man, don't be surprised. I mean, if you really were serious about, it's just human nature. I mean, should it be that way? No, but it's got nothing to do with should it be.
It's really,
should I have
yeah.
13 concubines? Yes. But do I have 13 concubines? No, my
Well,
wife won't
yeah,
let me.
Yeah.
It doesn't seem fair.
You tried.
you gave me a little funny thing. So there's that whole thing about there's certain religions that believe if you die a martyr, then you get 50 virgins or whatever.
Wow.
So there was a cartoon that
Of course,
showed
it turned out to be nuns.
right.
Yeah,
that was the whole joke. Yeah, you show up to the heaven and it's a
Yeah.
bunch of like Star Trek convention guys. Like here you go.
Or
You're like,
furries. The chicks are all dressed up in furries. you
Yeah.
know?
Oh yeah, they're humping you, but they got the costume on.
Yeah, oh yeah.
yeah.
There's a little space back
17 nipples.
And I promise you,
17 nipples.
I promise you, Christina
might have
his
some
real name is
potential,
Chris. I promise you.
yeah, there you go.
I like nipples. So
All right, so we're in the
Nipples
midst
cool,
of
but
this.
nipple, like,
We got
on
a
your
4th
rib
of July
cage.
2-hour special going on. It's the
No,
BNC show.
seen
It's
that.
the holiday 2-hour special.
Yeah,
Doing 2 hours
holiday
today.
special.
So this will air. We've got the 2 hour special running on the 4th. Part 1 will air on the 4th, and Part 2 will air on the 11th. America. So enjoy
Happy
your holiday.
birthday.
Hell yeah.
Celebrate it. Next up, we got This Week in History. We
Let's hear
also
it.
have the Big Daddy CMO Shawnee in the building to talk about Colts.
Big C.
We're going to hit Colts
yeah,
today.
That's something really cool about it.
Yeah.
I
Colts,
can't wait to hear.
I mean, we've just got so much stuff. I'm going to the beach. I'm turning 30 soon, so I'll be gone next
You're going
week.
to the beach?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
bastard. How's
Yeah, I'll be
that
gone
going
for a
to
few
the beach?
days. So
I haven't left Charlotte forever.
Man,
2
I'm telling you, it's a
hour
drag.
2 hour special here for the holidays. So we'll be back in 10 seconds. You're listening to BNC Show.
All my life, I've been waiting for someone, and when I find her, she's a fish.
I don't
I
think you
think
should have a
we've
lot of
called
cussing.
it
You might have a
down.
damned or a screw that or.
Oh,
you know,
yeah.
kind of
I mean, our
thing.
show
say-
is racy.
I say,
We
the
do
F word a
race.
lot.
I mean, we talk about racy
do.
stuff. We're not Howard Stern, but we are racy.
We've
You know.
had some.
Well,
we've had
she's
some
got
things
she's
up.
got her legs up on the mantelpiece.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some
I
heavy
mean, if you're
shit going
talking
on.
about that kind of racy shit,
We're talking about all kinds. It's weird.
I mean, rashes on your genitalia. I mean, we've talked
Yeah.
about some.
rashes.
We've hit a
on that.
lot.
I mean, we had a
of
medic
stuff.
on last week. We've talked about
Yeah,
some,
Jimmy.
some
Oh,
crazy
yeah.
shit.
Nice
yeah.
fellow guy. That
Yeah.
really nice guy.
He gave me
He's
some nice coffee. He gave me some
Did you-
African
I was
coffee.
gonna
That was
ask you guys,
fantastic.
did
We're
you-
digging into that tomorrow.
Oh,
First
really?
thing. Oh yeah.
From
I saved it for today,
Yeah, very
but just
cool.
we haven't
Cool.
grinded it
smelled
yet.
Like,
Oh,
Oh, smell it
right
from
through
the across the
bag.
you
house.
guys gonna
Like,
start with a half
man.
a cup on that shit.
Oh yeah, and Ethiopians they drink their coffee very. It's not like sugar.
Yeah.
Actually, they put salt. Some of them at least put salt in their coffee.
Really?
Wow. Yeah, I don't understand that,
Well,
but
I mean,
it's
just
all cultural.
Yeah, but see, well, I guess we're normally we drink. I can't really drink caffeine. I think I'm allergic to caffeine.
Are you?
He has a
yeah,
hard time
I get
with
a weird feeling after I drink that shit.
Well, you're supposed to get a weird feeling from it.
Well,
but
it's
I mean,
not even like a little buzz or anything. I feel like sick.
Oh no, you don't want that.
Yeah, I feel like something's wrong in my body. Like I need an IV.
And he's always responded to this. We
Yeah.
would drink Dr. Thunder or the cheapest shit
Well,
in the
that's
world
kind of
or
what
whatever.
started it all.
and yeah.
Because I got like close to being a heat casualty because I was drinking so much Dr. Thunder. But like the whole military changed my whole diet.
It would change your whole metabolism. It did mine. I mean, the
Yeah.
military changed my metabolism completely, and not for the better, really. I mean,
Nah.
I had to exercise constantly, or my body went to shit. And after a while, I just didn't want to exercise, so my body.
That's
went
where
to
I'm
shit.
getting. I'm like getting lazy over here.
You know, and I mean, it happens.
Yeah.
And the thing is, that when you one day,
Yeah.
like I had this like.
This is the wrong time for me though. Damn, 30. I'm about to fall off the cliff.
Fuck, I can't believe you're 30, man. That's
Yeah.
hard to believe.
Oh yeah.
That's really hard to believe. I remember when you were just a tiny little
Heck yeah.
Yeah.
troublemaker.
That's now I'm just a
Now
big
you're a big
trouble. Yeah,
troublemaker,
exactly.
so You know, yeah, that's really, wow. It's been 30 years.
30 years on this
Holy
planet. This
That's
will be my
depressing.
Crazy.
31st December, my 31st Christmas on this planet.
Yeah, man.
Wow.
And when you start counting it like that, start thinking about just naming off. This is my 30th June.
Oh yeah.
On the planet.
Yeah,
Can you
try
believe
doing that with 56 and see how you feel.
Yeah, but it seems like it's such a small number now. It's like 30, only 30 summers that I've been here.
Yeah.
It seems like a smaller number when if you go 30 years, it seems huge, but 30 Junes.
I get that. I mean, when I was
it seems
16, I used to
smaller.
say I was never going to live to 30.
Oh yeah.
You know, and I mean, it just seemed like so far away.
Yeah.
And of course, it wasn't. I mean, it snuck
Well, it
up on
comes-
you so
yeah.
fast. And
Yeah.
so I know you feel that way. You feel like it hasn't been. It just a couple of minutes ago you were a young kid, and now you're 30 years old.
Yeah.
It's like a hot shower. You just get used to it. You know,
Yeah.
you're in there at first. You're like, God, this is so hot,
And
you-
life
then
takes
eventually
over,
it cools
I mean.
off. It's like time.
Life takes
You know,
over.
you
Life
just,
takes over you.
Yeah.
You have certain experiences you didn't count on, and some that you wish you could get that will never show up.
You just can't plan life. I mean, you just can't. You can think you can plan it.
Good
you
luck.
think you got control, but you don't got any control, man.
Zero.
And it's like a roller coaster without tracks.
Yeah, floating down the river on a
It's gonna
leaf.
go,
Oh, yeah.
Whoa. Hold on.
no paddle, no nothing.
Nothing.
Oh man.
All right, so
Very
let's get
thin.
into it. This week is the big segment is Colts.
Colts. Well, you know
Boom.
what? You know what got me on this thing was.
What's that?
Well, I was reading about this guy, and I'm not criticizing him because actually
Okay.
I don't think these people did any harm at all.
All right.
But it was called The Source Family, and it was based out in L.A.
What was
And
the
they had
time
a
frame
rest-
around
Well,
this?
they had a restaurant. It was 1970.
Okay.
Let's say 1970 through like 1975 was when we were really active.
Right.
And this guy who was basically he was he was a former Marine.
Oh, boy.
I know better than saying ex-Marine, but former Marine in World War II. Okay.
That's a
So
good
you-
war. That
well,
war
that was a
pretty
big
intense.
war, man. And he had come out of World War II, and he'd gone into different businesses, and then he decided, that he needed a healthy lifestyle. So he established this restaurant called the Source Restaurant in L.A. And if you've ever seen any Saturday Night Live skits where they had these guys dressed in these white outfits, and they'd come over and say, "Hey, and what do you have today, man?" And they would order like the bean sprouts and
I'm
the.
definitely sure I have.
And I know you
have, yeah. Oh yeah.
There was a reference in Annie Hall and Woody Allen's Annie Hall of this place. It's really kind of a cultural joke now, but it wasn't then. Back
Right.
then, it was it was considered to be a pretty hip place.
Really.
Yeah, it was called the Source Restaurant, and what happened was that this guy who was living a very healthy lifestyle and decided that he should spread the word. So he started getting these young hotties coming into his restaurant, and decided, well, hey, you know what? I should have my own little, club.
Yeah, of course.
And of course, why not? Why wouldn't you?
the fuck not?
And then, of course, young men were attracted to the young women, and so they
do
came
tend
and
to
joined
come
the club.
after the girls show up.
And so he kind of established this little cult. I hate to use the word cult in this case, but it was a cult. I mean, if you have a guy, a strong leader, a charismatic leader,
right,
and you have this pseudo-religious thing going on,
and see, you could confuse because the story that I'm hearing is that he had it wasn't like religious, it was more like repetition, it was more like lifestyle.
It was a lifestyle, but it became kind of very.
Did he? So they started
they started doing
chanting. And
they started getting up at 4 a.m, getting in the pool, the cold pool every day, and then they had a religious rite you guys would like.
What's that?
What's that?
Well, they had something called sacred herb, and I imagine you could probably guess what the sacred herb is without me actually mentioning the name of the.
Many cultures have tied that to the higher beings on Earth.
Well, but he had rules how you smoked this stuff. See, you couldn't just smoke it any way. You had to smoke it in the context of the.
Okay.
So you had to inhale for exactly 6 seconds.
Oh,
6
boy.
seconds.
Yes.
Wow.
and then you had to chant.
Interesting.
What if you coughed? I mean, you were out the group. You were out the group.
The newbies couldn't participate. No.
You know what I found interesting about this cult, though, and what really got me started. I was razzing my wife about it. Actually, I said, he had 13 wives. Okay, and now he's in his 50s, like I am. Okay, and I'm feeling my age. I honestly am, and I see this guy who's got 13 wives.
Right.
And but they were all named after the constellations.
Oh yes.
Really? Changed their names?
Okay. Oh, everybody had to change their name.
This dude was on something.
I like this.
He had something going, man. This
13 women studying the stars.
And these guys actually cut rock albums. So this cult is the only one I know of that actually produced rock albums that actually are still selling today.
Wow.
I saw Billy of the Smashing Pumpkins. What's his name? Billy
Corgan.
Yep.
Okay.
Corgan,
he was just talking about this band.
Right.
That hasn't even existed since 1975, and he's talking about them like this is like heavy stuff. You have to hear this.
Yeah.
What?
Wow. I'm not kidding.
That's crazy.
I'm trying to think of the name of it. It was, I think they broke the word at this. You know what the ineffable name of God is?
No.
Okay. Well, I can't say it.
Okay.
I
Fill us
can't.
in later.
All right. But it starts with a J and ends with an H.
Jehovah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, I didn't say that word.
Okay.
But anyway, if you break that down into 3 syllables, that was the name of the band.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he actually called himself Yod, which is the sacred Hebrew symbol for God. It's a little. It looks like a 7.
Hebrew, yeah.
And anyway, so he called himself Yod, Father Yod.
Wow.
His real name, and you're going to really love this.
Oh, give it to me.
It was Jim Baker.
Oh, boy.
Not
the Christian Jim Baker.
Not the crazy Jim Baker.
Yeah, with Tammy Faye.
And I didn't say he was
face.
crazy.
No.
I said.
Well, he did.
I said he was crazy. What's the name of this cult, though? Because people love to Google stuff and
it
follow
was called
along.
the Source Family.
The Source Family. Source. Is that correct?
Source.
Yes.
I
okay.
can't believe
Family.
I didn't know more about them.
No,
I
man.
checked out
the
other
thing
cults, man.
I really studied cults. I did 5 or 10 years ago. I did a whole series on cults, but I did not include these guys because when I talk about a cult, usually I talk about the destructive part of a cult.
Sure.
Yeah, again,
like if you look at the Family, if you've ever heard of a cult called The Family, it's now called The Family International. It still exists.
Still going. Wow.
Yeah. It had some destructive aspects to it, and I didn't mind talking about that.
Right.
They did something called flirty fishing, which I always thought was and I actually encountered a flirty fisher back in the late 70s. Well, they would send their little cult hotties out. I met her on the beach in Fort Lauderdale.
Right.
She came right up to me, and she started talking about this organization she belonged to, and that she really loved it, and she gave me some literature, and she got my name and phone number.
Yeah.
She invited me to her house, which I declined. Well, it turns out that what flirty fishing, what they would do is they would take you home and ball the hell out of you.
Ball you?
What's
ball?
ball?
The hell out of you.
What's ball you? What's balling?
What
What's
do you
that?
mean ball? What's ball?
Oh, she'd give you a little something.
No, not a little something.
She'd
She
give you
would
the whole
fuck
thing.
you until your heart stopped. Okay?
Hello.
And then this is how they got you involved. This is called flirty fishing. They would take you home, ball the hell out of you, and then get you involved in the cult because you were like, "Oh, hey, I want some more of this."
Yeah.
And if you come to the meeting, or you'll meet all kinds of girls, and they'll ball the hell out of you too.
You can have 2 or 3 of these
it's
girls.
It's funny how sex seems to always make its way into these.
These
sex.
Yeah. I personally find the most attractive aspect of these cults.
I mean,
to be sexual.
There's always some
really,
sexual
honestly, I can
ritual.
do without all the religious claptrap, but the sex part, especially
some guy
when you
in a
got
robe,
hottie little hippie chicks, with long, and they all seem to have the long butt length hair and the hippie, braless hippie look with
Weird
I
chicks.
have a weakness for that.
It is attractive,
weird stuff.
actually.
It is very attractive.
No bra is attractive.
And I just watch those nipples, rubbing up against that fabric, and I go, okay, I'll follow you. But
Fort
in this
Lauderdale
case,
got a nice little breeze
I
going.
did not. I had this vibe from her that this was gonna be like one of those. I knew it was a cult.
Yeah.
I'd already met Scientologists, and I at the time was in radio, so I knew a little bit about cults, and I talked about cults sometimes. So I knew what this was about, and as I didn't. But I honestly, she would call me on the phone. She would send me letters. I think I have a letter of hers that she still wrote. That
is it kind of
no,
risque?
it's very sexy, but it's very sexy
boy.
in a very flirtatious way.
Yeah,
a kind of I really missed the opportunity for us to have a meeting. I think she said meeting of minds or something. And
hello.
And I would love to pursue that further with you if you'll just call me. And here's her number and then meeting times and I mean it was really
aggressive. That's pretty aggressive.
That's what you call flirty fishing, and they did that. They had brochures that they would print to give these people instructions on how to flirty fish.
Really?
Oh yeah, and I've seen them, and they're very, very. I mean, they got drawings of that
like
instruct
something,
every part
something that would be found in the Kama Sutra
of every part of the deal. And I remember one of their statistics that I read when they discontinued flirty fishing, which was in the late '80s. And with the issue that they were talking about, this was a members only. If you were in the cult, you got this newsletter, and they were explaining why they were discontinuing it. But they said it was a very effective program, and that 1 in 13 people that were approached with flirty fishing converted.
Is it borderline prostitution? I mean, they're not getting paid, but would this flirty fishing, like, why can't like a roofing company do this?
Why not?
A feminine.
Why not?
Like
actually, it sounds. I think I got a leak.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, like
some of those females, man.
I got no problem with the whole idea. Honestly,
is it against the law, or was it just something inside their cult?
It definitely is not against the law.
Okay,
that's one of the strongest forces in the known universe is a female aware of her sexuality.
Oh, and I dig that. All I'm saying
they
is
can run you over, man.
They can take
Holy
you,
hell.
I totally dig that. I think a woman that's aware of her power over a man is very sexy.
And we're not talking about being a bitch. We're talking about enhancing
just understanding she's
just
a
enhancing
woman and understanding what she can do to a man. But in this case, I found it to be a very contrived and very. It tried to get me to do something that I wasn't really aware of doing because I was so involved in chasing this little hottie, and she was, by the way, very cute. Very.
Wonder where she is now.
From a legal standpoint, in the United States, religious activities of cults are protected under the First Amendment. However, cult members are not granted any special protection against criminal charges. So that's from a legal standpoint, and that's the United States.
Do they consider that like a religion? Because I know the federal government kind of stays out of the religious.
And should.
Yeah.
Well, he had brought up Scientology, and that's its own 30-minute thing.
Oh,
but
man, yeah.
The one that I remember
show than 30 minutes.
is the Cosmic Gate.
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate.
Heaven's Gate. That's the one. They thought they were riding on a comet. We had the Jim Jones.
Yeah, you know that comet thing.
Yeah.
I don't know how he can. I mean, it was one of the screwiest concepts I had.
Well,
ever.
I think it was just the 2000, the 2K thing, the Y2K's phenomenon was just in everybody's head.
I remember my dad pulling me outside and showing. We looked at this comet together, or the tail, or whatever we could see, and he was like, "That's the one that those guys." I remember him just saying that. That's the one those guys think they're, and they had just done their act, and he's like, "That's the one that those guys thought they were going to meet."
That's got to be one of the weirdest things that's ever happened. I mean, they had uniforms
that
said Heaven's Gate away team on them.
Right.
I mean, how Star Trek can you get?
I can still see it. They had Nikes on, and then and they were all wearing black, and then had that purple.
And you know the guys
thing.
all cut off their winkies. You know that?
Did they?
Oh
yes,
yeah,
they
castration.
See, now that's another thing that's interesting.
How do you convince a guy?
Religion and cults, things like that. Well, like the Mayans, they used to bloodlet through that.
They did. Yeah,
and
but
there's
that
a
was,
certain percentage.
That was more of a shamanistic spirit voyage type of thing.
I mean,
Why they were
in New
you know.
Age, that guy, I think he was on PCP, but the guy from Bone Thugs, or what was he with? Wu-Tang.
What happened?
I don't want to say the wrong name, but
What happened?
He chopped his own shit off and
Really?
jumped off a house or some shit.
Yeah, he was shit. On something.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
he was
it's
on
just weird how like that male genitalia gets affected.
I mean, guys on acid would do that back in the 60s.
I just can't imagine why you'd want to. It's gotta hurt.
I don't know how you convince a guy.
You wake up the next day like, oh,
you
shit,
really need
supervision. Mary.
The,
I don't dig that.
Well,
man.
shit, if you
for
think
any
you're born
listeners,
a girl, that's one thing. But if you just did it because you're high,
right?
But I did want to tell you guys the ending of that story.
Oh yeah,
do.
please.
And only because it's fascinating in a weird sort of way. That guy, Father Yod,
yeah,
jumped off a mountain in Hawaii with a kite, one of those.
A hang glider?
He never had any lessons.
Right. Oh, that was fantastic.
But since he was
the man,
the man, not better than the man.
Yeah,
I mean,
he was the higher being on earth.
He didn't really need lessons because after all, he didn't need lessons. I mean, he was all knowing, all powerful.
I could do this.
Jumped off the mountain with this kite, and he went
kerplunk.
Plunk. Yeah. Landed on a cliff and where all his members came down, and he was still there and still alive at the time. They carried him back to their headquarters because they were then based in. After a while, they had moved to Hawaii, and carried him back, and he died like 11 or 12 hours later of internal injuries.
Because they never sought medical help.
They didn't believe in medical help.
Right.
One of the concepts that he had pushed was the idea that you couldn't use antibiotics, you couldn't get blood transfusions, you couldn't get any of these medical. And the first thing he said when the followers got to him, the bottom of the cliff, was, "Should I go to the hospital?"
Yeah. Now he's going. Everybody gets changes their mind.
Yeah, and the chick who was with him, the chick who got to him first, and he asked, "Should I go to the hospital?" She said, "Well, no, that's against your beliefs."
Yeah. You've been telling us this.
He's like, shit. Okay.
Karma lives. One
I can only imagine what was going through his mind when he jumped and started falling.
Talk about hoisted on your own petard. Man.
You ain't kidding.
Well, you write your own book in this life. I think.
And that was their whole philosophy was you write your own book. And
God, Jesus, I'm the new one.
And I really hate to even laugh at them because I thought it was kind of a harmless and almost kind of I don't know.
That's the era. I mean,
the
whole
groovy kind of cult in a sort of weird way.
I like the hippie era because there was a lot of freedom and people did exercise.
And they did. I mean, they had a lot of freedom and they enjoyed each other and they just didn't have a lot of crazy rules and they all ate really healthy. And
they eat healthy. It was I mean, a lot of them, and it turned into, and I know like the Hayden Ashbury.
Sure.
Like it turned into like this drug thing, and it turned into people manipulating and things like that, which kind of like gave it a bad rep. But the whole start of it was kind of beautiful, man. You could just go, and they had houses where you could stay, like a hostel. I
mean, it really was.
No, you know what I'm talking
about.
No,
I just like how you said it.
Yeah.
No, I mean, there was a groovy aspect to it. There was a lot of. I mean, these people, and even this Baker guy. But really, I think he really believed what he was saying.
Yeah.
I think he got crazy toward the end of it and started calling himself that word.
Yeah.
That he didn't start out that way.
Right.
He didn't start out thinking he was God. He just thought he was a leader and wanted a family around him that he. And I think it was. And these people, a lot of these people, are still alive.
Really?
They're still alive and kicking. I mean, still.
Did they disband after that?
They
that
did.
was kind of what I was on the.
They did, but they still. I saw an interview with a couple of them the other day. They're still very much rocking that whole vibe that they were doing in the early '70s, and they're still living. They're still alive. They still look pretty good.
Yeah.
For their age, I mean, when you think about it, usually the hippie lifestyle.
Yeah.
You get to be 45, you look like you've been rode hard and put out wet.
Yeah, they're out in the sun all day.
Yeah, I mean, you really look rough. These people looked very good. I mean, they've
That's
been
cool.
obviously taking care of themselves.
Well, good. I mean, good for them. I mean, and hopefully none of them
And they
jumped
don't
off
hurt
cliffs.
people.
Yeah.
And, you know what? I can
Well,
find a lot wrong with a lot of different cults.
I was about to say,
These
that might be
guys-
the best cult I've ever heard of. Right
you
there.
know, and that's why I thought I really didn't want to go negative today. I just thought it was it was kind of like weird but cool.
Yeah,
Well,
I
it's
hear you.
insightful because
Very
I
cool stuff.
honestly had never heard of that, and like I said, I read up on all these other ones, watched videos, and just was like, wow, you know, all these mass suicides and things. It's just like,
And by the way, the video of him taking the flight and
Oh,
the
they have a
dive,
video?
It's out there.
oh my goodness,
It was
Jesus.
the whole everything the cult did was photographed by this chick. Isis was her name, Isis Aquarius.
damn.
Okay, which of course was her name
Yeah.
adopted, but this chick was responsible for
Freeze your dick right off.
film and taking pictures of everything they did. They had a weird. I saw a weird video from them of the first child that was born into the cult.
Right.
This girl is naked as a jaybird, pushing out a baby.
Yeah.
The baby had the cord wrapped around
The neck.
her neck,
Yeah.
or his neck 3 times.
Right.
Jesus.
The cult leader comes over, gives the kid mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. The kid comes back to life.
Nice.
Right? This is all on film. They've got film of everything this cult ever did.
That's cool, man.
But
That's
this guy
actually really
plunging
cool.
off the cliff,
That's
them
a mistake,
strapping him
yeah.
onto the thing, and then
Yeah.
him go. Oh, it was hard to watch.
See, he would have really been on his high horse if he'd actually done well on that flight.
Yeah, I think though, I honestly think he had in the back of his mind that he was either going to commit suicide,
Yeah.
or he was going to turn this cult around because it was kind of ebbing and flowing. if you dig
And they
what I'm
do,
saying.
yeah.
Yeah, and they very much do, and it had kind of turned into a maternal kind of society when. After he married these 13 women, he gave each one of his wives the responsibilities in the cult.
Right.
So he was doing very little to run the cult at that time.
Of course, yeah.
And he felt kind of cut off from it, and he didn't seem like he had any real part in it anymore.
Right.
So I think he was trying to either reclaim his divinity or whatever, or go out with a bang. And
If that's what you wanna do.
The cult claims that he kind of got resorbed, if you dig what I'm saying. He just
Right.
kind of Kundalini'd himself right out of his body.
Right. Which, yeah, a lot. There's a couple cultures on the that think that goes down.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
If you can choose when you go,
And
then
that's what they believe. They
yeah.
believe he didn't. They say that the coroner's report said there were no broken bones.
Really?
Yeah, but the truth of the matter is that whether there were or weren't broken bones, there were certainly internal injuries.
Oh, yeah,
you
can't-
don't land.
Oh, yeah.
1,500 feet off a
Yeah.
cliff.
He's lucky he didn't die at that time, but I mean, he probably would have
He
preferred.
probably was unlucky to
Yeah,
die when he
yeah,
hit the
yeah.
ground.
I'm sure he
'cause
was
that
hurting.
would have.
That would have been seriously hurt.
That would have hurt. That would it's not the drop that kills you; it's that sudden stop.
Oh yeah, you're right.
And that sudden stop would have hurt real bad.
That's not cool, falling from things.
So we're in the middle of this 2-hour holiday special. We're celebrating the 4th of July. We've got, obviously, my father, C.M. O'Shawnee, in the building with us. Next up, This Week in History. You're listening to the B&C Show 2-hour holiday special. Be back in 10 seconds.
We rob banks.
But I do think it's funny that he didn't realize that.
Oh well, yeah. He makes me laugh every day.
Oh, yeah, it's pretty funny, really. It's pretty funny.
But what he did well was present the problem to you. He was like, I got these, but I don't know if they fit.
Really, his mother did tell me about him having a problem with the mic stands.
Yeah.
And so when I walked in here and there weren't mic stands, I thought, well, that's strange. What kind of problem you have with the mic stand exactly? And because mic stands are kind of, standard.
They're pretty simplistic.
And yeah,
unless you think too much about them.
But it's pretty funny.
It's good. You get to go to bed with a laugh today.
I thought it was pretty funny.
All right, this week in history, 1946, the bikini is introduced.
Oh, named after
1940.
Bikini Atoll. Now, you know what
1946?
went on? Yeah, you know what went on at Bikini Atoll?
I don't, and I need to.
The testing of that bomb.
That's right.
Oh.
They did an atomic test out there, and they had to evacuate all the people that lived on Bikini Atoll, and they still, to this day, haven't been able to move back.
That I just watched the documentary on that bomb the other day, and that was just atrocious. The whole thing.
I don't know. It's the world is such a dangerous place,
Truly.
but I just don't understand what we were thinking. How we as Americans can look at that and say we have the right to tell people to move the hell out of there,
Oh, yeah.
because we're going to
Yeah.
set off a bomb just so we can study it.
So how did that tie with the actual bikini?
Oh well, because the explosions at Bikini were so much news that and then on the same front page of the explosions at Bikini Atoll, you had this new two-piece bathing suit that was really, very,
That's interesting and
It's a good way to
sick
turn
point.
turn the terminology of that word around a little bit. You know?
What's that?
It definitely got their
Bikini?
mind. They
Yeah.
definitely got
Oh,
their
yeah.
mind off that little island.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Yeah, and on some other islands instead.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, 1958, Pele helps Brazil to the World Cup. Probably one of the most
What
famous
year
names.
was that?
It was 1958.
That can't be right. Pele?
Pele's still
I
alive. He
think
just
so,
did a
he is.
Subway commercial
I just saw him
recently.
on a Subway
yeah,
commercial.
Just
Well,
did
he
a
looks
Subway
damn
commercial.
good for a guy.
He
that
does.
1958.
He's hanging out.
Well, I figure he
Crying
was
out
what
loud.
in the 20s.
He was probably early
So
20s.
now, yeah.
I'm sure. Yeah.
I remember seeing him play. Fort Lauderdale used to have a soccer team. It was called the Fort Lauderdale Strikers.
Nice name.
And he came with the New York team, whatever that New York team was. Cosmos, I think it was.
Okay.
And he was playing for them, and I saw him play in the early 80s.
So he'd been playing a hot
so
minute.
1958.
That's 30 years.
Holy moly.
Well, maybe
never knew that.
Maybe he entered the league illegally, like some baseball players do, and maybe he was really like 16.
Maybe he's a fucking vampire.
Yeah,
he looks
might be.
good.
I mean, he looks really good.
Well, they are some of the most healthy guys on earth. These soccer players, or world
they
calls it
run
football
all the time.
time.
Well, this next one's really going to touch a
used to
nerve
run.
for both
Me
of
too.
you. 1979, the first Sony Walkman goes on sale.
Oh, wow! Where did I see?
Hey, let
one
me
the
just
other
let me
day?
just clap
on
for
my
that.
desk.
That's it. I saw one.
I
and-
got one. I
and
got
I was
a
like,
couple of them.
Oh,
wow.
Yeah, I had a cassette one. I had a
Yeah.
CD player one. I had one that just had a radio. Oh yeah,
That's
So
what I was
you-
happy. You got the option of the radio or cassette.
Right,
I
you had
loved Sony. Sony product. I mean, Sony back then. Sony products were like
Yeah.
you were indestructible. You could drop them from a plane and they'd still be playing when they hit
Yeah.
the ground. It's bizarre. I mean, I don't know if they're like that now, but boy, that was like
Now
the
it's just-
Honda of
Now it's just your iPhone.
You
You get
really?
iTunes. Yeah, I mean everybody's storing everything on here. This
Yeah,
is, this is
I
it.
guess
You
that's
can,
right.
if you are jogging, you're just taping it to your arm or however you're
No,
working.
I don't
Yeah.
do that. I still got my iPod that
Yeah.
every day.
Same
See, that was one of those
technology,
in
though.
between eras.
Same
right there,
technology.
yeah. But see, nobody has an iPod anymore.
I love my iPod.
Digital.
You know, so
So talk about nostalgia. 1981, Back to the Future is released. I know you remember that.
one of
movie.
my favorite movies.
Yeah, remember that car?
Yeah, the DeLorean.
That was a DeLorean. Yeah,
Yeah.
they've got one in
Pretty
that museum
rare.
up in Charlotte,
Yeah.
up by the Speedway.
Really,
Yeah, cool one. Yeah,
I would love to see because I actually have never seen one in person, but they're definitely rare, and
Yeah,
I
they
know a
got it
lot of
sitting right
car
on the road.
enthusiasts.
Yeah,
But do you remember it was the flux capacitor?
yeah, it was.
Just hearing like that we're using plutonium and things like that. As a kid, it just made so much sense, right? How they went back in time.
Yeah.
They're just like beep boop bop boop beep.
It was cool. Do you know where that car was built?
I don't. I knew a little bit about it, but it's just not coming to mind for sure.
Northern Ireland.
Ireland, right? And they named it after the guy that
Northern
invented
Ireland.
it.
Yeah.
Northern Ireland's pretty beast mode.
Well, you know what DeLorean was. Though.
The IR. What's the they have a little gang up there.
Well, no, the Northern Ireland is actually a British-controlled part of Ireland.
Okay, so is it Southern Ireland?
The Republic of Ireland is the
Okay.
south part.
Okay.
Most of the island is the Republic of Ireland, but the Northern Ireland is Belfast is.
Okay.
And what they have is troubles. They call it the troubles.
The Troubles.
The troubles.
What
Yes.
is that?
Bad shit. Bad shit.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah,
Troubles,
yeah. They definitely
But yeah, the
that thing.
DeLorean guy was a designer for GM.
Okay.
A very hotsy-totsy, very big designer. I mean, he designed, I believe, the Firebird.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And so, I mean, he had quite a reputation. Everybody figured if he designed a car, man, it was going to be a success. Guess what?
Yeah.
It was a dud, man.
It was, but it's a hot commodity for some reason. I like it, other than the fact it's just a dull gray.
Well,
Did they have different colors or what?
No.
It was just
one color. That was the stainless steel.
Yeah.
But those doors, man. No, I mean those doors. Come on.
I guess he made them up because you got Lambos. The doors.
No,
go
he
up.
stole it from Mercedes Benz.
Oh, okay, all
but
right.
I mean, I didn't say stole, but yeah,
Borrowed.
He permanently borrowed.
Borrowed and altered
without accreditation.
Oh.
So we're celebrating the anniversary of our independence, and I've really debated on bringing this up, but us, especially me, constantly playing devil's advocate, I almost feel not only compelled but almost obligated to report this. 1988, U.S. warships shoot down an Iranian civilian passenger jet, killing almost 300 civilians in 1988. The only reason why I bring it up is, there's casualties of war, and I know that we talk a lot about combat. We talk a lot about armed services on this program, and it's just basically my way of just sending my sympathy to civilians across the world, not only in this incident, but throughout.
I mean, there's never been a state of war between the United States and Iran anyway, has
well, this occurred right
so.
after the Iran-Iraq
well, not right after. I mean, let's face it, that was 1980.
Yeah.
That was, I mean, hell, that was, 6 years later?
Initially, our government claimed that
What do you say, 88
the
or
plane
1980?
was flying very low, but after investigation, we did admit that it was flying.
And that happens in just being on the inside. I mean, we go out of our way not to. We can't actually engage in fire. That's why I think some of these terrorists are a bunch of pussies, because they hide in a flock of kids. What is the term for multiple children? Anyway, they picked the Ninos, and they knew we weren't going to shoot at them while they were near there. And I mean, so we do go out of our way to try to avoid that.
It is such a sticky situation because we obviously abide by the Geneva Convention as much as we can outside of your anomalies like the disgusting events at Guantanamo Bay and things like that.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I know we are guilty of things, but at the end of the day, like you look at the 40s and what happened with the rise of Hitler and what was going on in Russia with Stalin and Lenin. I know we're becoming the big dumb bully on block, but in hindsight, as much as I criticize our government, they have a very difficult. It's a very difficult job.
It's a big country. And
it's a huge world.
We project more good than we do. Not
I
good.
agree.
And and we're all like emphasizing like how the American people should stand up and kind of run the government themselves and dictate. But are we smart enough? I mean, are we even into it, or do we just give a fuck about like the next cell phone and what's the hot shoes?
That's a great point. That's
what
a great
I'm saying.
point.
So,
And I don't want people to misunderstand what I'm saying. Like I'm not patriotic. I mean, that's not the case.
Of course not. We want the best for the company.
Thankful.
I mean, I keep saying company.
Well, we've kind of become
it's
a business.
The country, the beautiful United States of America.
It is a beautiful country, and it's founded on beautiful principles. And there's no reason why we can't lead by example.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right, well, moving on. 1995, the U.S. space shuttle docks with the Russian space station.
Well, that was cool.
So after beefing with the Soviets for almost a decade, I remember they were doing remember the bomb drills we would do in school, B? Do you remember that? I'm sure my father remembers doing bomb drills.
Tornado drills, bomb drills. Yeah. Everybody goes out in the hallway or something.
Yeah. It was unbelievable. His deck and coverage.
Students, I want you to go in the hallway, bend over, and kiss your ass goodbye. And that was like what they expected us to do. Go in the hallway and literally. I mean, you remember the exercise? We would bend down like we were praying to Mecca.
We did practice
you remember
that an awful lot. It seemed like, but I mean, at
yeah.
one time earlier,
that was just to watch you guys do it. Watch these kids do this. This is hilarious.
Well, it's just if we were acting up,
But I think they did that. They docked with the space shuttle with the Russians because the Russians were the only ones that had any good vodka up there.
I'll bet.
And it was like, hey, fuck this, man.
We gotta go up
space
there.
is hard enough. We don't have any booze. Well, let's go over. And
Seriously,
see how
my bone mass is shrinking by the day.
We're eating fucking toothpaste up here.
Hot Russian women and some vodka. Everything, everything gets better then.
We can get along, guys. I promise.
And why not?
Well, there's a lot of stuff going on with Russia right now in the world. So, how fitting would that be for like the World Cup if we ended up playing Russia?
What I don't want to happen is I don't want to get a shit storm for this. But the word on the street is that we've got a little beef with what's their leader's name? Putin.
Putin, yeah.
He's still around. Apparently, he's threatening to release information that suggests 9/11 was an inside job.
Right.
I
Just
don't want to open the Pandora's box on
of course,
that.
that Putin was a KGB, was the head of the KGB at one time,
and he's going to hide in the Siberia.
Oh, he knows all the tricks about how to, propagandize and how to make the other guys look bad. The thing is, he's playing the same game that everybody plays.
Everybody.
What he's doing in the Crimea is another different thing altogether. He's trying, I think, to reassemble the old Soviet Union piece by piece. The Ukrainians are very worried, and with good reason, I think, that Putin's next target's going to be the Ukraine.
Do you think we would get involved in that situation?
No, I don't. I don't think there's a war we could win, and I don't think that being that the Ukraine was part of the Soviet Union for how many years, 30, 40 years, I don't think that we would say that we would buck historical precedent to that point. I think that there's a belief in Washington, and I think among most Americans, that the Ukraine is part of the Russian influence. It's part of the Russian sphere of influence.
Right.
And if it was to revert somehow, that we wouldn't fight it. We wouldn't be willing to fight over it. Do the Ukrainians want freedom? Yes, I think they do. But their own social system at this point is so fragmented that I'm not sure they can really defend themselves. And if they're so fragmented that they can't defend themselves and their territory, I'm not sure that American lives are going to be well spent in trying to defend. I mean, if you look at Iraq, you can see what happens to a society that's so fragmented it can't defend itself.
Exactly.
We lost a lot of good Americans in that country, trying to reestablish society and all that stuff after the craziness of Bush Jr. Bush. We won't even go there, but we tried to establish a society that was sustainable.
Right.
We developed infrastructure. We did everything we could to make sure that society was stable. And the minute that American boots got off the ground, that place started going back to the Stone Age.
Yeah.
If it's back to the Stone Age now, and it might be, it's only because the Iraqis aren't willing to defend their own, this country as it exists.
Well, I mean, just to me, just the facts. You are taking over so long from a guy like Saddam Hussein, his sons.
Yes.
And you are basically generations of docile at that point because you have to listen to this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And we're there for 7 to 10 years or whatever, however long it's been.
Yeah.
That's not enough time to change.
No.
That's not enough time to change.
And of course, there's an argument that if you look at the history of Iraq is not really historical entity. Iran, if you look at Iran, Persia has been around for thousands of years.
Exactly.
It was Persia's always been Persia, but Iraq didn't exist until World War One.
Right. Yeah. It was. Yeah.
So a lot of people that live there don't see themselves as Iraqis. They see themselves as part of other cultures.
Well, they have like 3 main religions there too, and those guys that have beef between each other, Sunnis and Shiites, and I forget what the other one is, but
it's a difficult situation, and I think everybody sees their own interest, and they don't see a national interest at all. As you know, it'd be like Florida saying, well, we're Floridians first and Americans second.
Exactly.
Now, the only people I know that can get away with that way of thinking are Texans.
Yeah.
And
they actually try to secede. They try to secede back in the day.
I mean, I don't really know if they're really serious about it or not, but you always hear a Texan saying, I'm Texan first, and, I don't know. I mean, we're all Americans really first.
Represent the country. I love it.
All right, so last one here. 1996. Dolly, the sheep. Remember Dolly?
Oh, the clone.
The first mammal to have been successfully cloned from an adult cell. Is born in Scotland.
That's the exact time I started becoming scared.
So over the course of her life,
that's a bad idea.
Bad. So she developed some problems with one of her limbs.
I'm not even going to be sheepish about that joke.
No, man, this is good.
Boy.
Keep them coming.
So she developed arthritis.
That's when the government started putting wool over our eyes. How many can we do, fellas?
I don't know. I don't want to fleece you guys, but
I swear to God, I'm gonna get through this bit.
We didn't even practice this.
I know it's just sheer.
It's just sheer entertainment.
Yeah, sheer.
All right. Well, if I can get the chicken wing alley to calm down for a second. So in 2003, she was put down after more and more problems.
So she did.
So it just basically raised questions about the
copy
safety.
of a copy of a copy of a copy
Right.
is a fucking
What a stupid
black
idea. Do we
piece
really
of
need
paper.
clone sheep?
Well,
Do we
the
need
big problem
cloned
is-
anything? I mean, who fucking needs this?
The big problem is the FDA passed something. Now we're approaching almost a year or two after this ruling, maybe even more time than that the FDA approved them selling clone meat as regular meat. Now,
Well,
as us and consumers, I would like to know what it's cloned and what's not, because you guys bring up a great point. You take a picture or something, and then you copy it 100 times. The more copies you make, the shittier it gets. It's the same thing with like burning tapes or CDs. The more time you burn said tape or CD, it sounds more and more shitty. Right? I mean, you guys remember that.
Yeah, I agree. And just another fact about the FDA, because it's on a lot of food. You have organic and regular, but they have a term called all natural. They actually don't recognize that term.
Oh yeah,
in the FDA, it doesn't mean a damn thing. So just be savvy when you're shopping, and as always, check out the ingredients and know what you're putting in your body.
So I work in the food industry. I work for a warehouse that sells food. So basically, I get inspected from the feds and by local state authorities. Now, usually, especially in the case of marijuana or crime, the feds always outweigh the locals. In every situation, the feds are always going to win. Yeah. Recently, up until a couple years ago, if a state recognized medical marijuana or whatever, the feds could come in and raid said local establishment, and did constantly. Yeah. In this situation, the feds came into my business, not that I own, but I just associate with, where my day job is. The feds come in, say we're good. The local investigate the North Carolina Department of Agriculture, to get specific, came in and basically said, I have a problem with that word. I think he could specific. I had a problem with that for years.
Well, you just amped up. Just calm down.
I apologize, but long story short, here's a particular situation to where the state
they worry me too. Then
just outweighed them.
Well, see, that's the problem. Is like nobody's
when those
there.
guys come in, you're in trouble.
This company's, there's no higher ups there sees the guy at the office. So when this guy just barges in.
Oh yeah, and guys like that
to see shit. This is who he's talking to.
Oh, and you're gonna give them a tour, because if you don't, they can fine you on the spot for not letting. They were talking about $5,000 of fines and this, that, and the other. And I'm like, don't you guys have other things to be doing?
We had a guy at the airport come in. He had a firearm.
Uh-oh.
I said, well, you can't come in with a firearm. And he said, And he showed me a badge, and it was the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
With a firearm.
I said, well, why are you carrying a firearm? U.S. Department of Agriculture. He said, that's a dangerous job. You don't understand. We got to certify every year. What? He's the Department of Agriculture.
What's the verdict on that one?
Can you see Hank Kimball from
chefs
Green
get
Acres
upset,
carrying a firearm? Oh, Mr. Douglas, I'm going to have to shoot your ass. That's all there is to it.
Well, I mean, was he allowed to pass with it?
Yes.
Did you have to make
He's got a...
Did you have to make a call?
Got a federal badge, and he's certified. Yes.
Shit.
Wow.
That's the short answer is, fuck yes.
That's who I want protecting me. Is
The U.S. Department of Agriculture.
Yeah, the guy that inspects, corn seeds and shit.
Yeah, it's a dangerous job, man. Mm-hmm. You could be like boll weevils could attack your ass.
I guess so. Don't they eat shit?
I don't know, but it was the strangest thing I ever saw.
That is wild, yeah.
It's been a lot of fun. This has been the BNC Show 2-hour holiday 4th of July extravaganza. Hopefully we'll make it annual if one of us don't croak. Can't make any promises on that, but
see, now we already said that you prophesized too well in here, so just
he's
calm
scaring me to
down.
death. All I'm asking is don't shoot your fireworks off over my house, okay? They almost lit my roof on fire a couple years ago.
Fair enough.
Bet.
Fair enough.
I mean, they're shooting these rockets on it. They're
I had to save C's life.
Rockets.
We had a. Was it last year? It might have been last year.
I think it was.
It rained off and on, so you had to go out and in to do your fireworks. But these guys that we were hanging out with were shooting the mortars off, legal or illegal. We did it. But the cardboard tubing got wet.
You fired them off in South Carolina where they are legal.
Yes, exactly. We followed all protocols.
Yes, I'm sure.
No.
But see, this tube got wet, and the first charge sends it in the air. Well, it didn't send it in the air. C was just kind of looking at it. I knew exactly what was going on. I had to get C on the ground right quick.
Oh yeah, he grabbed me. He saved me. He saved me from losing at least an eye from last year. So I greatly appreciate that.
Yeah. So I mean, we were hoping nobody's going to croak this year.
Well, just keep your fingers.
Keep your fingers.
Please keep your fingers.
Yeah, I think more fingers are lost at 4th of July every year than
I think
any
that's how
other time.
Sheehan lost his finger.
Who?
I think Sheehan, a family friend that passed away years ago. I think he lost a finger on a firecracker.
Crazy.
So please be careful with your fireworks. Have a good time. Don't drink and drive.
Be safe.
Don't smoke in the car to wherever you're going.
Don't hang out with Mike Sheehan, especially considering.
Rest in peace. But
crazy fucker, that guy.
Hey,
much appreciate everybody listening. It's been we've only got a couple more shows in season 1. 7 and 8 is in the books.
Oh yeah.
Next we have Reed Clayton. He'll be coming in for a guest. We've got a few other guys coming in over the next couple weeks.
Hey, thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for coming in.
Big C. It's always a
pleasure.
Please
We're going to try
in.
to have him do a segment every week. We just got to catch him.
We may
when
do
he's,
Cult of the Week. What do you think of that?
Cult of the Week. How
Cult
about
of the Week. I actually kind of like that. That's
hey, with
sick.
all the sheep jokes that we had, that was interesting. We fired them off.
That was fantastic. Y'all were killing me here. I'm just trying to.
I'm telling you.
We were firing them off there for
fantastic.
a second.
All right. Well, you guys enjoy yourself. Happy holiday. We'll see you back for the C's birthday, 30th birthday extravaganza. That'll be the next show here in 2 weeks. So we're going to take a week off. I'm going to the beach. Be safe. We'll see you when we get back.
BNC show.
Holla.